She's currently detained at the office of the Anti-Cybercrime Division of the National Bureau of Investigation. With her there are her legal team as well as some of her colleagues in Rappler. Now, NBI agents arrested Ressa, the CEO of online news organization Rappler, past 5 in the afternoon on yesterday at their office in Pasig City. That's after office hours. Ressa's lawyer, JJ Dicini, says aside from posting bail, they will file a motion to nullify the case against Ressa. As of now, media men monitoring the situation here are no longer allowed inside the NBI compound, and will just be given access, according to them, once it's already office hours. Ria.
All right, George Cahilas there reporting from the NBI headquarters in Manila. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo denies Maria Ressa's arrest is an attack on press freedom. Panelo tells CNN Philippines authorities followed the rule of law. He also explains the timing of the arrest. We will have that soundbite for you later on in the program. As for Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara, he says Ressa and her counsel should have anticipated her arrest and should have preempted it by posting a bail bond. He points out information on the case was filed in court nearly 2 weeks ago. Several groups are slamming Maria Ressa's arrest. The National Union of Journalists of the Philippines says the cyber libel charge against Ressa is clearly manipulated and is, quote, a shameless act of persecution by a bully government, unquote. The group claims Ressa's arrest is part of what it calls the Duterte administration's obsession to forcibly silence media and to stifle free expression. The National Union of People's Lawyers also calling the arrest an undisguised attack on press freedom, which it says is an effective form of censorship. An international group, which includes Nobel laureates, also shows support for Ressa. The Reporters Without Borders Secretary General says the Rappler chief can rely on the solidarity of the 24 other members of the Commission on Information and Democracy, which Ressa is a part of. UN Special Rapporteur Agnes Calamard says, likewise in a tweet, quote, and another terrible nail in the coffin. Maria, I am thinking of you. You can count on me. You can count on us, unquote. Our top story, Rappler CEO and Executive Editor Maria Ressa plans to post bail in a Manila court this morning. Ressa spent the night in detention following her arrest for cyber libel yesterday afternoon. The Rappler chief allegedly violated the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012 for an article on businessman Wilfredo Keng and his alleged ties with then Chief Justice Renato Corona. Ressa remains defiant, saying that she is not intimidated and that no amount of cases can silence what Filipino journalists are doing under the Duterte administration.
Is that what it takes to be a journalist in the Philippines today? We are just telling the story of what is happening. They went through a lot of effort to have me here tonight. And okay, I'm here. Thank you to the people who are on social media, who came out. So many friends who were okay. I'm fine.
And we now talk to attorney Jose Luis Agkawili, president of the Philippine Bar Association. Good morning, sir, and welcome to New Day.
Good morning, Ria.
Sir, Rappler CEO Maria Ressa was arrested for cyber libel. Can you explain to us in layman's terms exactly what cyber libel is?
All right. The Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012 defines libel as any act or commission which is punished under Article 355 of the Revised Penal Code, but by way of a computer system. Now, if we go to under Article 355 of the Penal Code, libel is defined as a public and malicious imputation of a crime or act which tends to cause dishonor, contempt of a person, or to blacken the memory of one who is dead. Every defamatory imputation is presumed to be malicious, even if it's true, if no good intention or justifiable motive is shown. All right? Now, Mr. Wilson King alleges in his complaint before the Department of Justice that his reputation was blackened, dishonored, and he was subject of contempt because of the story that was published online in the Rappler that he supposedly, allegedly lent his SUV to the former Chief Justice Corona during the impeachment trials. Now, my take on it is this. We live in a country where it's public knowledge that all presidents, virtually all our senators and most congressmen fly all over the country, all over our 7,000 islands plus, in choppers or private jets lent by tycoons and some of the top 100 business leaders all over the country. And I don't think that the people in general think any less of our top 100 richest people in the country for lending their toys for the big boys, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So I really don't see how Mr. King's reputation was blackened, dishonored, or in any way maligned by virtue of these allegations. But the fact is, the Department of Justice found probable cause to indict Maria Ressa for libel, and it simply means that they found probable cause, which means that reasonable grounds exist to believe that Maria Ressa committed a crime, and therefore must stand trial.
Okay, one of the issues here, sir, is that that article came out in 2012, 4 months before the cybercrime prevention law actually became a law. Based on that, do you think there is a basis for her arrest?
Well, I also understand that Mr. King requested that the article be taken down, but in 2014, which is after the Cybercrime Prevention Act took effect, the article was reiterated in the...
Attorney, are you still there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay.
My understanding is that the article was reiterated in 2014 after the law came into effect, no? So
the statement by Maria Ressa's lawyer was that the only thing done to that article in 2014, I think, was the addition of a punctuation mark. If that is the case, does Maria Ressa's, does this case against her hold any ground?
Again, we go back to the definition of libel. Is the article defamatory to begin with? I don't think so, because really, it's a stretch to, in my personal opinion, to justify how Mr. King was dishonored or was held in contempt because of a report that he lent his SUV to the former Chief Justice. But then again, see, this is a truism. It's almost an established fact in legal circles that in 8 out of 10 cases filed before the Department of Justice, the public prosecutors would rather have the case filed in court and let the case go through the gamut of trial and let the courts decide, rather than these public prosecutors, city prosecutors, or the DOJ itself, no, through its prosecutors, be accused of, say, favoritism or worse, even corruption in the conduct of preliminary investigations before it.
Now, attorney, critics are really not happy about the fact that the warrant was served at around 5 or 5:30 p.m. because at that point the courts were closing and the legal team would have been hard-pressed to find a court that was open or a judge. What's your reaction to that?
I would not put any irregularity or malice in that, because the fact is the warrant was served on a weekday, on a Wednesday evening, and today and tomorrow, being weekdays where the courts are functioning, Ms. Ressa can very well still post bail. The indictment is for a bailable offense, so one night in jail is actually a badge of honor for a journalist of her stature, and rather than cause her any dishonor or shame, I think it's done the reverse. It has actually boosted Ms. Ressa's stock in the local and international media, and multiplied her reputation as a champion of press freedom and free speech in the country.
All right, thank you very much for your time. That was Philippine Bar Association President, Attorney Jose Luis Agkawili. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo denies Maria Ressa's arrest is an attack on press freedom. Panelo tells CNN Philippines authorities followed the rule of law. He also explains the timing of the arrest.
Alam mo kasi ang batas, hindi namimili ng oras. Pag yun ay pinail sa'yo at napatunayan na may probable cause, talagang ipapile sa'yo yun. Otherwise, mamimili ka ngayon ng kakaroon ka ng discrimination. Sasabihin nila po, dyan si Maria Ressa, journalist, ayaw galawin. Samantalang yung ordinaryo tao, dinidemanda, pinapa-aresto agad. Hindi po pwede yung, we cannot be using our influence, our stature as a journalist, or for that matter, our social status para magreklamo tayo na inaapi tayo. Hindi naman po pwede. Kailangan para pantay-pantay ang tingin ng batas sa lahat ng tao. Napapansin mo si Presidente at ang administrasyon, hindi pinapabayaan lang ang katakot-takot na assault kanyang reputasyon, integrity. Wala nga dinidemanda. Di ba? Si Presidente na mismo binabalala, pinapabayaan niya lang. Kasi nga naniniwala siya sa kalayaan ng pagpapahayag.
As for Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara, he says Ressa and her counsel should have anticipated her arrest and should have preempted it by posting a bail bond. He points out information on the case was filed in court nearly 2 weeks ago. Vice President Leni Robredo also speaks up on Ressa's arrest. She describes the Rappler CEO's courage as an inspiration for others to continue the fight for press freedom.
Sa akin nakakalungkot. Dinedenounce natin in the strongest terms na sa panahon ngayon, yung political harassment dahil sa pagpapahayag ng saloobin, dahil sa pagpapahayag ng pangungontra sa ibang mga pulisiya, nagiging dahilan para supilin yung freedom ng hindi lang ng members ng media, pero ng mga tao naglalakas ng loob.
Aside from journalist groups, schools also are expressing their views on the arrest of Rappler CEO Maria Ressa. The La Salle, Philippines President Brother Armin Luistro calls on Lasallians to defend press freedom and give their all-out support to Ressa. In a memo to Ateneans, Ateneo de Manila University President Father Jet Villarin says the pattern of political persecution casts a chilling effect on legitimate opposition and criticism. He commits to use their resources as educators to make the truth come to light. Meanwhile, the University Student Council of UP Diliman describes the arrest as an admission of this administration's move to silence the press. It adds the press will never be silenced.
International personalities and journalists condemned the arrest of Maria Ressa. On Twitter, United Nations Special Rapporteur Agnes Calamar considers the arrest as another terrible nail in the coffin of the Philippines. She tells Ressa, quote, "Maria, I am thinking of you. You can count on me. You can count on us." Former U.S. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright, meanwhile, calls the arrest outrageous that must be condemned by all democratic nations. Albright says she's proud to call Ressa a friend and stand with her in defending the principles of a free press. The Global Editors Network, where Ressa is a board member, tweets in part, quote, "We stand by her in the face of government repression and fully support her work. We respect the courage with which she and Rappler approach journalism." And CNN's chief international anchor and host, Christiana Mampur, also condemns the incident. She says, quote, "You know a government is desperate when they arrest a journalist." Mampur also called on President Duterte to free Ressa now.
You're back with us on CNN Philippines. I'm Maria Ressa.
And this is New Day, where the news comes first. I'm Christine Jacobson-Dejas.
Speaking of news, we still have a lot in store for you in the next 30 minutes. We are going to bring you the latest on Maria Ressa's situation. And we're also going to cover certain things by the COMELEC. They are telling candidates to take down illegal materials ASAP. Again, stick around. We have more stories coming up. You are watching New Day on CNN Philippines. Rappler CEO and executive editor Maria Ressa spending the night in detention following her arrest for cyber libel yesterday afternoon. She plans to post bail this morning before a Manila court. Ressa was among those named Time Person of the Year. She was also a former CNN correspondent based in Jakarta and Manila. Our George Cahiles is now at the headquarters of the National Bureau of Investigation in Manila for the latest on her case. George, what can you tell us?
Well, Ria, we're still here outside the NBI compound here in Manila, waiting for the team of Maria Ressa to carry out their first agenda of the day, which is to post bail before the Manila Regional Trial Court Branch 46. It is the court that issued the warrant of arrest against Ressa for a cyber libel case. Currently, Ressa is detained at the conference room of the Anti-Cybercrime Division of the NBI after the failed attempts to post bail before night courts here in Metro Manila. Now, NBI agents arrested Ressa, the CEO of online news organization Rappler, past 5 in the afternoon yesterday at their office in Pasig City. That's after office hours. Now, just to give you context about what's happening, this cyber libel case filed against Maria Ressa and their former staff Reynaldo Santos stemmed from a complaint from businessman William King. Now, initially, the NBI rejected or junked this complaint from William King, but a week after, they changed their minds and filed this cyber libel complaint before the Department of Justice. Now, there is an argument right now saying that the Department of Justice is saying that the prescriptive period for the cyber libel case is 12 years, while the lawyers of Maria Ressa arguing that the prescriptive period for libel and cyber libel cases is just 1 year. So this can be a test case on this particular issue, whether on how the courts will decide on this matter. Now, Maria Ressa's lawyer, attorney JJ Dicini, says aside from posting bail, they will also file a motion to nullify the case against Ressa. And as of now, we are still here monitoring the situation, waiting for the next move of Maria Ressa's legal team. Ria.
All right, George Cahiles there reporting from the NBI headquarters in Manila. Thank you very much.
And that's it for us this Thursday. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Christine Jacobson-Dejas.
New Day is back tomorrow at 6 on the dot. I'm Maria Ressa. Stay tuned to CNN Philippines for more on the arrest of Maria Ressa. Again, she is still detained at the NBI headquarters in Manila. She is expected to post bail this morning. We'll bring you more details and reactions, both from here and abroad, on this developing story throughout the day. Enjoy your morning and have a great Valentine's Day.
Welcome to The Source, where we combine the headlines with in-depth conversations with the newsmakers themselves. Today on the program, she vows to fight for truth and defend press freedom.
Is that what it takes to be a journalist in the Philippines today? We are just telling the story of what is happening.
Rappler CEO Maria Ressa arrested and charged for cyber libel.
Thank you to the people who were on social media, who came out. So many friends who were okay. I'm fine.
Journalists and groups slam the government's move.
Yung sa akin nakakalungkot, dinidenounce natin in the strongest terms.
But Malacanang insists her arrest is not a threat to Philippine media.
Pag yun yung final sa'yo at napatunayan na may probable cause, talagang ipafile sa iyo.
Justice Department spokesperson Mark Perete and former Supreme Court spokesman Attorney Theodore Te join us in the program. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pinky Webb. Rappler founder and CEO Maria Ressa says that she will not be intimidated and promises to continue reporting the truth following her arrest due to a cybercrime case Wednesday night. It was late afternoon, around 5 p.m., when officials from the National Bureau of Investigation arrived at the online news site's headquarters to serve Ressa's warrant of arrest. The warrant was issued on February 12 by presiding judge Rainelde Montesa of the Manila Regional Trial Court Branch 46. The arrest is in connection with a story published by Rappler on May 2012, months before the cybercrime law was enacted. Ressa says her arrest is no longer a surprise, but she was shocked on how the rule of law has been broken to silence journalists. Ressa was among those acclaimed last year as Time Magazine's Person of the Year. She was also a correspondent and CNN bureau chief in Manila and Jakarta. Let's now speak to Attorney J.J. Dicini, the legal counsel of Maria Ressa. Attorney, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning, Pinky.
Attorney, where are you right now?
I'm at the Regional Trial Court 46 in Manila, where we hope to file an application for bail for Maria this morning and hopefully get her released by this afternoon.
Was there an information sheet that was part of the arrest warrant served yesterday at around 5 p.m. at the headquarters, sir?
So what happened yesterday was the arresting officers had a copy of the arrest warrant, but the information, which contains some important information like the bail amount, was not included, and so that caused complications for even assuming there was a judge that was willing to allow us to post bail last night.
Attorney, is that valid? Is an arrest warrant valid if there's no information sheet attached to it that could specify the bail and the amount of bail that could be paid?
So technically, the arrest warrant stands on its own. Obviously, in order for the accused in this case, in order for Maria to exercise her right to bail, the judge would need to know exactly how much bail has been set. So it became sort of a catch-22. The judge can't issue. There's not enough information. When you take that to...
Attorney? We'll try to get back Attorney J.J. Dicini on the line. He is at the Manila Regional Trial Court, he says. At the moment, Maria Ressa is, I believe, still at the NBI headquarters. She spent the night there. And according to Attorney J.J. Dicini, they plan to be able to post bail within the day and have Maria Ressa released by mid-afternoon. Let's get back on I think he's back on the phone, Attorney J.J. Dicini. Sir,
Hello, yes.
So, sir, here's a question. So, she was served an arrest warrant at 5 p.m.
Yes.
How can she possibly post bail if there was no information sheet attached to that that will say that so amount, let's say 100,000 pesos is needed to post bail?
So it becomes very difficult if a judge is very strict. The judge might say, "I don't have enough information in order for you to post bail." So, as I said, it becomes a sort of chicken and egg situation where you want to avail of your right to post bail, but you're unable at that time. Mm-hmm. And so that's what happened here is that, which is exactly what happened. You have to stay overnight, get the information from the court, and then you can post bail.
But you get the information from the judge. Is that right, sir?
The judge, because the judge that issued the arrest warrant, is different from the judge who will grant the bail.
I see.
The judge who will grant the bail will want to see the document.
Magkaiba sila.
That's the difficulty.
So the judge who served the arrest warrant is different from the judge that will give the amount of bail.
Well,
And
if we are...
attorney. All right, I think we lost him again on the line. We're trying to understand the situation, but I guess it's clear from Attorney J.J. Dicini. He's saying that for Maria Ressa to post bail, that will be coming from a different judge. In fact, that actually made it a little bit more complicated. But we'll move on to other stories. Again, just to recap what he said, he is, I believe, at the Manila RTC right now, waiting to be able to get the information sheet to be able to post bail so that the Rappler CEO Maria Ressa will be able to be released, possibly in the afternoon. Of course, this is a developing story, and we will keep you posted on that. Is the attorney back on the line? We'll get him back on the line a little later on. Let's move on to this. Top government officials are reacting to Maria Ressa's arrest. Vice President Leni Robredo describes the Rappler CEO's courage as an inspiration for others to continue the fight for press freedom.
Yung sa akin nakakalungkot, dinidenounce natin in the strongest terms na sa panahon ngayon, yung political harassment dahil sa pagpapahayag ng saloobin, dahil sa pagpapahayag ng pangongontra sa ibang mga pulisiya, nagiging dahilan para supilin yung freedom ng hindi lang ng members ng media, pero ng mga tao naglalakas ng loob.
The legal counsel of Maria Ressa, Attorney J.J. Dicini, is back on the line. Sir, you were saying that the judge who issued the arrest warrant will be different from the judge that you will go for posting of bail?
No, if we had done that last night. So today, we are in the court that issued the arrest warrant. If we were to post it last night, because it's a night court, we would end up going to Pasay. So that would be a different court. So different judge, and so that's why that judge would need to see all the documentation. Whereas we are now in the court which issued the arrest warrant, so all the information that we need is already here, and we plan to file it momentarily.
Do you have any information on how much she needs to post bail? There was an interview just a while ago with Maria Ressa, and she was saying this is about the 6th or 7th time she's posting bail.
It's well, because she posted bail for the other cases. These are the tax evasion cases. I think this is her 6th case. So the bail here is at 100,000 pesos.
For this one?
Yes, for this one.
Is there an assurance, attorney, that she will be out on bail today? I mean, my question is meron ho bang posibilidad na hindi siya bigyan ng bail or allow her to post bail?
No, bail is a matter of right. So the only thing that could possibly delay her release is say some procedural, if the order is not issued in time. But I'm fairly confident under the circumstances that she will be out today.
Okay. Yes. I want to bring this in, though, because presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo was saying that, it was DOJ Secretary Menardo Guevara in a text message. He was saying that this could have been preempted. The information was filed in court, I believe, 2 weeks ago, he says, and you could have posted bail back then. Why did it have to come to this, attorney?
So the resolution of the DOJ, I only received it 2 days ago. And so normally we would be given an opportunity to file a motion for reconsideration. We were not given that opportunity. All we heard were media reports that the resolution had come out. We had not formally received it. And what happened was that our understanding is that I think on the day the resolution came out, immediately it was sent to the court. And as soon as it was sent to the court, the next day the NBI was already writing the court to ask for a copy of the arrest warrant. So that's a sequence of events. Our understanding was that we would be given a chance to file a motion for reconsideration, and only after its denial will they file the information in court.
But that didn't happen.
That didn't happen. Although they're not obligated. Of course, the DOJ is not obligated to inform us, right, to give us notice that the information has been filed. But I would have thought that they would give us an opportunity at least once to file a motion for reconsideration.
But if the Secretary Guevara is saying that, here it is, sir, the information for cyber libel was filed in court nearly 2 weeks ago. An arrest warrant would be issued as a matter of course. This is all part of procedure. So you're saying that even if it was filed 2 weeks ago, your camp had no idea that it was filed 2 weeks ago. Is that what you're saying, attorney?
Because in the ordinary course of events, the DOJ does not provide us a notice that the information is filed, right? So there's no way for us to be notified unless we camp out at the Manila clerk of court and wait for them to file. But it was our understanding that we would be given an opportunity to file a motion for reconsideration. After all, the NBI recommended dismissal. And then it is the DOJ now that, not taking the recommendation of its own attached agency, decided to file the case. So we believe that, given that there was a difference of opinion, that it was worthwhile to file a motion for reconsideration. And we thought we would be given a chance to have the DOJ take a second look. But apparently that had been preempted by the filing of the information.
Okay, so what will happen today is the posting of bail, and you're confident that Maria Ressa will be released within the day?
Yes, we have confidence that the court will act swiftly on our motion, and bail is a matter of right in this case.
Thanks a lot, Attorney J.J. Dicini. Maraming salamat po sa inyo. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo denies Maria Ressa's arrest is an attack on press freedom. Panelo tells CNN Philippines authorities followed the rule of law. He also explains the timing of the arrest.
Alam mo kasi ang batas, hindi namimili ng oras eh. Pag yun ay final sa'yo at napatunayan na may probable cause, talagang ipapile sa iyo. Otherwise, mamimili ka ngayon ng kakaroon ka ng discrimination. Sabihin nila po, dyan si Maria Ressa, journalist, ayaw galawin. Samantalang yung ordinaryo tao, dinidemanda, pinapa-aresto agad. Hindi po pwede yung, we cannot be using our influence, our stature as a journalist, or for that matter, our social status para magreklamo tayo na inaapi tayo. Hindi naman po pwede. Kailangan pantay-pantay ang tingin ng batas sa lahat ng tao. Napapansin mo si Presidente at ang administrasyon, hindi pinapabayaan lang ang katakot-takot na assault kanyang reputasyon, integrity. Wala nga dinidemanda. Di ba? Si Presidente na mismo binabalala, pinapabayaan niya lang. Kasi nga naniniwala siya sa kalayaan ng pagpapahayag.
Let's now go to the source of the story on the line, Justice Department spokesman Mark Perete. Sir, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ms. Pinky.
Yusek, magandang umaga. Welcome to the show. Nagfe-feedback ata tayo. Yusek, so, we need your reaction on this for a host of issues. First is this, sir. This article was supposedly posted back in May, this cyber libel case, in May 2012. The cyber libel law was enacted 4 months after, which was in September 2012. The question that I see a lot on social media is this retroactive?
Well, definitely, Pinky, the law on cyber libel is not retroactive. But what I understand from the resolution of the investigating prosecutor is that, there are two theories, I think, that are which form the basis for the decision. First is there was a republication sometime in February of 2014, which somehow constituted a separate offense, which is the basis for the information. And the second is that it may be a continuing, considered as a continuing offense. So because of that, the republication happened after the passage of the law, yes.
But why was it previously dismissed and then revived?
Again, my understanding is there was a republication. We are going by the resolution which was issued by the investigating prosecutor, and a republication was made sometime in February of 2014, and based on the appreciation of the evidence presented before the investigating prosecutor, that offense was committed after the the enactment of the Cybercrime Prevention Act.
I understand, sir. Yusek, my question is, what was the difference between the first publication and the second publication? Would you know, sir?
I think the republication somehow modified some content in the article. But the defamation, alleged defamatory remarks still remained in the publication. So because it constituted a new somehow article because of the modification as well as the republication, then that would qualify now as an offense.
How I understand it, Yusek, parang nabuhay yung article months or years after the law was enacted, the cybercrime law was enacted. Is that correct, sir?
Siguro medyo inaccurate when we characterize it as nabuhay. In essence, bagong article yung in the contemplation of the law, it is a new article because of the modification and the republication. Understand that libel, one of the requirements for an offense of libel to be present is the publication. And if a publication was made at some time previously when the law was not in effect, but subsequently a new one is made, then that is deemed as a new article.
I see. So basically you're saying it's not an old article, it's really just a new article that was published.
Yes.
Okay.
In the contemplation of the law, and that's my understanding as well of how the investigator in this case appreciated the evidence.
Okay. You said just a couple of more questions. Why at 5 p.m.? Again, another question asked over and over again because it does not give Maria Ressa the chance to post bail.
Two things, Pinky, no? First is under our rules of court, it's very explicit under Section 6 of Rule 113. It says a warrant of arrest may be served at any day and at any time of the day. So there is nothing legally infirm with the service of the arrest.
Okay.
The warrant of arrest.
Anytime, kahit gabi, Yusek, no?
Yes,
All
I think it's late in the afternoon when it was served.
Okay.
And the reason behind that is precisely because you want to make sure that the court would have custody over the accused, and the accused would be able to stand trial. If there's any attempt to flee, of course, you'd want to make sure that the very earliest opportunity you gain custody over the person of the accused. So from that perspective, the rules would seem to justify the action of the operatives in this.
The operatives of the NBI. Yusek, but would it be malicious? Because the arrest warrant was signed, I believe, February 12. So in the same token, sir, you said that an arrest warrant can be served at any time. It could also have been served at 9 a.m., 10, 11, 1, 2, 3, which could have given her some time to post bail. So I guess what I'm saying, sir, that malicious siguro perception is being asked. Yes, sir. Go ahead. Please respond to that.
I think we have to take into consideration logistical and operational requirements of the NBI in the service of warrant of arrest. We do not know when the NBI received the warrant from the court and how the NBI prepared for making sure that the service of the arrest, the warrant of arrest, would be smooth and would not have what do you call this? Any problems? So those are matters which we are not privy to. But the other point that I want to raise is, and as Secretary Guevara already said, Ms. Ressa has an opportunity and had the opportunity to post bail even prior to the issuance of a warrant of arrest, and she could have prevented, the service to her in this particular instance if she had posted bail even prior to the issuance of the warrant.
I actually asked that to the legal counsel, sir, of Maria Ressa. But because we need to go, there's just one more point I'd like to raise, Yusek. I hope you don't mind. The members of the NBI went to the Rappler headquarters, and let me get a quote from what happened yesterday, because they were taking videos, and there was an NBI agent who had asked the journalists in Rappler not to take the videos. First and foremost, sir, do NBI agents have the authority or the right to ask anybody? Let's just make that as an example, did they have the right to tell anybody in that room not to take any video, sir?
Well, generally, the rule is in the service of warrant, they have to make sure that it would be orderly and peaceful. Now, if they thought that certain actions may impede the smooth and peaceful service of the warrant, then they have the authority to request certain acts from not being done. That said, we probably would want to look into those allegations as well, because we've read from the Department of Justice and we've read some allegations to that effect. So really, we'd want to make sure that the operatives who served the warrant did so in accordance with the rules.
If they said this, sir, because it's been quoted that there's an NBI agent who said this, speaking to the journalist, Aika, he said, can you stop doing that now? Because he had been requesting the journalist to stop taking the video. He says, allegedly, can you stop doing that now? Tell this to your colleagues. If we see our faces on the net, you'll be sorry. You've been warned. We'll go after you. How would you describe a statement like that, sir?
Well, again, we do not want to make a conclusion which may be out of context. That's why we want to look into the incident and elicit as well the side of the operatives who were serving the warrant, so as we'd have a clearer picture of what transpired, and then find out if there has been any violation of the rules on the service of warrants.
But my question is, sir, would the DOJ be interested to speak to that journalist, si Aika Ray of Rappler, because she was the one taking the video. It's actually a long video. We're going to play that later. And the officer, maganda naman actually yung usapan nila in the beginning. He kept telling her that, can you please not take the video? And she was asking, bakit po? You can take my phone. Sabi pa niya ganon. Tapos sinabi niya, because I said so. And then there's that part nga, sir, that I mentioned to you that I read a while ago about saying that you've been warned, we'll go after you. Of course, I understand, sir, that there are two sides here, but would you be wanting or willing to talk to the journalist, sir, also to find out if that was uttered to her?
Definitely. We would really want to investigate that matter as well.
For the sake of argument, sir, do NBI operatives have the right to say that?
Well, again, as I've said, we'd want to see the context.
Okay.
If the context was the, certain acts may impede in the service of warrant,
yes,
then it may be justified. If there are no such circumstances, then it may not be justified. So it might be reckless for me to come up with a legal conclusion based on one side of the story.
Absolutely, sir. But you saw the video. I mean, we all saw the video. Yusek, no? In any part that you've seen so far, does it show any impeding the possible serving of the warrant?
Not that those which were captured on the video clip. So far, I do not see anything. No. That's why we want to look into this and probably call the journalists involved as well as the operatives who serve the warrant.
Sir, do you know the name of the NBI agent?
Right now, we don't. I understand there has been a number of operatives who actually serve the warrant, so we want to get information from the National Bureau of Investigation on this point.
You said just, I hope you don't mind another point. Also, questions that I've read on social media is they were not in uniform, the NBI operatives.
Well, there's really no hard and fast rule. It's really... Yeah, there's really no hard and fast rule on the service of warrant. What's guaranteed by our rules of court is it has to be peaceful, and those are the only requirements that our operatives in the service of warrant must follow.
How do you describe the serving of the warrant and Maria Ressa joining the NBI team? Was it smooth? How was it sa inyong pananaw, Yusek?
It would appear like. From what I've seen so far, the video, Ms. Ressa voluntarily joined, went with the NBI operative. Yeah, so that's so far what you've seen on the video clips.
Thank you, DOJ spokesman Mark Perete. Thank you, sir. We'll be taking a short break. Coming up, that video taken by a Rappler reporter showing an NBI official preventing them from taking videos of Maria Ressa's arrest and making rounds online. We'll speak to her after the break. You're watching The Source on CNN Philippines. Several groups are, well, another controversial story was that video that we were referring to a while ago. Let's go straight to the source of the story. Rappler correspondent Aika Ray. Aika, good morning to you.
Hello, hi.
Hi, Aika. So, Aika, in that video that I watched over and over again, hindi umabot yung part that the NBI agent was saying, can you stop doing that now? Tell this to your colleagues. If we see our faces on the net, you'll be sorry. You've been warned. We'll go after you. Which part of the video did he say that to you?
It was in the latter part of the video. Actually, I think it was around a 5-minute video when we started taking video. We started taking Facebook Live.
Yeah.
It wasn't just, I have 2 other colleagues doing that as I do. And so, I was asking to stop taking a video. And I repeatedly asked him, why? Can you explain to me first? Why should I stop taking a video? And then he told me that because I'm saying so. And so I tried to press him to explain why. And then eventually he told me, in the latter part of the video, he was telling me that he'll explain to me because they were just doing their jobs and their face shouldn't be seen. And because it's actually their weapon, their identity that shouldn't be used, that's what he told me. And then he told me that part that you mentioned.
All right. Aika, how did you feel when he said that to you?
Well, at first I was just thinking that he was trying to intimidate me, to stop me from doing my job as a journalist, to record, yeah.
Were you scared, or did you want to just keep doing what you were doing?
I just kept doing what I'm doing.
All right, so you're back at work today.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
All right, so we spoke to Yusek Perete of the spokesperson of the DOJ, and we had asked him, I don't know if you heard it, Aika, if he's willing rather also to speak to you, as you were the one in this video speaking to this NBI agent. Would you cooperate with the DOJ investigators if called?
Definitely.
All right, thank you to the Rappler reporter, Aika Ray. And thank you for joining us here on The Source. I'm Pinky Webb. You're watching CNN Philippines.
Narito na mga balita at serbisyong hatid namin para sa Pilipino. Ito ang newsroom ngayon. Naarestong mamamahayag na si Maria Ressa, nagpapiyansa na ngayon matapos arestuhin ng NBI. Patungo na ngayon sa Manila Regional Trial Court Branch 45 si Rappler CEO at Executive Director Maria Ressa para maghain ng piyansa. Ito ay matapos siyang arestuhin ng mga otoridad kahapon. Yan ay dahil sa kasong cyber libel na isinampalaban sa kanya kaugnay sa isang istoryang inilabas sa naturang online news website noong 2012. Idinitalya umano dito ang pagkakaugnay ng negosyanteng si Wilfredo Keng kay nooy Chief Justice Renato Corona. Si Ressa ay isa sa mga hinirang na Person of the Year ng Time at dating CNN correspondent na nakabase sa Jakarta at sa Maynila. Nasa NBI sa Maynila ang aming correspondent na si George Cahiles kung saan nakadetine si Ressa. George, ano na ngayon ang latest?
Well, Cherry, sa ngayon nga ay pinoproseso na nitong Manila Regional Trial Court Branch 46 itong pagpapiyansa ni Maria Ressa sa kasong cyber libel. At ang impormasyon na huling nakuha natin ay wala doon si Judge Rainelda Montesa, yung presiding judge ng Branch 46. Kaya ang pipirma daw ko dito sa pagpo-post ng bail nitong si Maria Ressa ay yung presiding judge ng Branch 45 ng Manila RTC. Sa ngayon ay naghahanda na itong grupo ni Ressa at maging itong NBI upang dalhin siya doon sa Branch 46 dahil hiniling nga daw ng judge na personal na mag-appear itong si Maria Ressa doon sa korte sa pagpapiyansa niya. So, para bigyan lang ng konteksto itong kasong ito, gaya na nabanggit nyo nga, ay tungkol ito sa storya na inilabas ng Rappler noong 2012 na involvement nga daw nitong na isang businessman na si William King dito sa dating punong maestrado ng Supreme Court at di umano'y kakasangkot nito sa droga at human trafficking. Pero last year ay binasura ng NBI itong complaint ni Mr. King. Pero after a week ay nagbago yung isip ng NBI at itinuloy ang kaso at isinampahan nila ito sa DOJ. At sinampahan nga ng cyber libel itong si Ressa at yung former news staff nila na si Reynaldo Santos. So, test case daw ito sa cyber libel sa bansa dahil nga ini-insist ng Justice Department na ang prescriptive period para sa libel or cyber libel ay 12 years after publication noong artikulo. Pero doon legal team ni Ressa, sinasabi nila na 1 year lamang itong prescriptive period. At saka dagdag pa dyan, yung anti-cybercrime law na basis dito sa cyber libel case ay ginamit retroactively. Ibig sabihin yan, yung batas kasi it took effect noong September 2012 samantalang yung article ay na-publish noong May 2012. So abangan natin kung paano didesisyonan ng korte itong kasong ito. So sinasabi ni Maria Ressa, wala daw siyang ginagawang masama o kriminal at hindi rin siya yung editor ng particular na article na ito. At nakikita niya ito bilang forma ng harassment at paglabag sa kanyang karapatan. Pakinggan natin si Maria Ressa.
This is the sixth times that I posted bail, and I will pay more bail than convicted criminals. Traditional. I will pay more bail than Imelda Marcos.
Ma'am, how do you feel right now?
Aghast. It's unbelievable that this can happen in a democracy. But I'm processing it, and I'm trying to figure out, if they wanted to send me a message. The message is clear. It's an abuse of power. It's a weaponization of the law. If they wanted to scare me, this isn't the way to scare me. Follow the rule of law. Let me get free. Happy Valentine's. Wow. Thank you, NBI, DOJ. I get your message.
Sherry, plano rin ng legal team nitong si Maria Ressa na magsampa rin ng motion to quash o para ibasura na itong kaso laban sa kanya. Sherry.
So inaasahan ng makakauwi ngayong umaga, George, si Maria Ressa?
Well, yan yung ina-anticipate natin. Kaya lang, syempre, depende pa rin ito sa desisyon ng korte kung makapaglabas ba siya right away nitong release order after nga niya mag-post itong bail. So yan yung mga abangan natin ngayong mga susunod na oras, Cherry.
Maraming salamat, George Cahilas, nag-uulat mula sa headquarters ng National Bureau of Investigation. Itinuturing ng National Union of Journalists of the Philippines na isang pag-atake hindi lamang sa press freedom kundi maging sa mga Pilipino ang ginawang pag-aresto sa mamamahayag na si Maria Ressa. Nananawagan sila sa pagkakaroon ng malawakang kilos protesta bukas para kondenahin ito.
We are actually calling for a Black Friday protest tomorrow. Here in Manila, in Metro Manila, the main point is going to be at the Rossi Circle in Quezon City. It's at 6 p.m. But we're calling a nationwide protest. We're calling all our members nationwide from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao to hold simultaneous protest.
All right.
And not just the media. No, but we are calling ordinary citizens because, as I've said earlier, the attack on press freedom is the attack on the people's right to information.
Nagpahayag naman ng suporta ang ilang mga banyagang personalidad at mamamahayag kay Maria Ressa. Sa isang tweet, itinuring ni United Nations Special Rapporteur Agnes Callamard ang pag-aresto bilang isang kabiguan para sa Pilipinas. Anya, quote, "Maria, I am thinking of you. You can count on me. You can count on us." Hindi naman makapaniwala si dating U.S. Secretary of State Madeleine Albright sa nangyari. Nananawagan siya sa mga demokratikong bansa na kondenahin ang pag-aresto. Ipinagmalaki ni Albright ang kanyang kaibigan at ang pagtataguyod nito sa malayang pamamahayag. Nagpaabot rin ng buong suporta ang grupong Global Editors Network kung saan board member si Ressa. Hanga raw sila sa katapangan ni Maria at ng Rappler sa larangan ng journalism. Ang Chief International Anchor at host ng CNN na si Christiane Amanpour, kinundi na rin ang insidente. Sa tweet ni Amanpour, sinabi niya na makikita ang pagiging desperado ng isang gobyerno kapag nang aresto na ito ng isang mamamahayag. Ang banat niya kay Pangulong Duterte, quote, "Free Maria Ressa now." Hindi raw maituturing na pag-atake sa press freedom ang pag-aresto kay Rappler CEO Maria Ressa. Ito ay ayon kay Presidential Spokesperson Salvador Panelo. Sa panayam sa CNN Philippines, iginiit ni Panelo na sinunod lamang ng mga otoridad ang batas. Nagpaliwanag rin siya sa naging timing ng pag-aresto.
Alam mo kasi ang batas, hindi namimili ng oras. Pag yun ay final sa'yo at napatunayan na may probable cause, talagang ipapile sa iyo. Otherwise, mamimili ka ngayon ng kakaroon ka ng discrimination. Sasabihin lang po, dyan si Maria Ressa, journalist, ayaw galawin. Samantalang yung ordinaryo tao, dinidemanda, pinapa-aresto agad. Hindi po pwede yung, we cannot be using our influence, our stature as a journalist, or for that matter, our social status para magreklamo tayo na inaapi tayo. Hindi naman po pwede. Kailangan para pantay-pantay ang tingin ng batas sa lahat ng tao. Napapansin mo si Presidente at ang administrasyon, hindi pinapabayaan lang ang katakot-takot na assault kanyang reputasyon, integrity. Wala nga dinidemanda. Di ba? Si Presidente na mismo ang binabalala, pinapabayaan niya lang. Kasi nga naniniwala siya sa kalayaan ng pagpapahayag.
Samantala, ayon naman kay Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara, dapat raw ay inasahan na ng kampo ni Ressa ang magiging pag-aresto sa kanya at naghain na dapat ng bail bond para tugunan ito. Dagdag pa ni Guevara, halos 2 linggo nang nasa korte ang impormasyon tungkol sa kaso. Kung si Vice President Leni Robredo naman ang tatanungin, maituturing na inspirasyon si Ressa para itaguyod at ipaglaban ang malayang pamamahayag.
Sa akin nakakalungkot. Dinidenounce natin in the strongest terms na sa panahon ngayon, yung political harassment dahil sa pagpapahayag ng saloobin, dahil sa pagpapahayag ng pangungontra sa ibang mga pulisiya, nagiging dahilan para supilin yung freedom ng hindi lang ng members ng media, pero ng mga tao naglalakas ng loob.
Nagpapasalamat naman ang negosyante na si Wilfredo King sa pagkakaresolba ng Justice Department sa cyber libel complaint na inihain niya laban kay Maria Ressa. Bagamat itinuturing ni King na isang vindication o paglilinis ng pangalan para sa kanya ang pagpapaaresto kay Ressa, maaari niyang matagalan pa bago tuluyang matuldukan ang kasong ito. Iginiit ni King na biktima siya ng mga kasinungalingang inilabas sa online website na Rappler at umaasa siyang mananaigang katotohanan at hustisya dito. Sa ating issue, kayo naman ang ating tatanungin, naniniwala ba kayo na isang pag-atake sa malayang pamamahayag ang pag-aresto kay Rappler CEO Maria Ressa? Oras na para boses nyo ang aming pakinggan. Bukas lang aming Facebook Live para sa inyong mga komento. Dinipensahan ng Justice Department ang isinagawang pag-aresto ng NBI sa journalist na si Maria Ressa. Sa panayam ng The Source, sinabi ni Justice Undersecretary Mark Perete na pinagbatayan ng arrest order ang bago o republished article ng kaso.
What I understand from the resolution of the investigating prosecutor is that, there are 2 theories, I think, that are which form the basis for the decision. First is there was a republication sometime in February of 2014, which somehow constituted a separate offense, which is the basis for the information. And the second is that it may be a continuing, considered as a continuing offense.
At kanina, tinanong namin kung naniniwala ba kayo na isang pag-atake sa malayang pamamahayag ang pag-aresto kay Rappler CEO Maria Ressa. Ang komento ni Christina Ignalig, ang mga mamamahayag ay kailangang laging i-check ang kanilang mga sinusulat. Hindi ito freedom of the press, kundi nagkakalat ng maling impormasyon. Sabi naman ni James Agan, hindi siya naniniwala na ito ay pag-atake ng gobyerno dahil walang sino man ang excuse sa batas kung ito ay nilabag. Maraming pong salamat sa inyong mga komento. Yan ang mga balita at serbisyong hatid namin para sa Pilipino. Samahan niyo ako muli bukas. Ako si Cherry Mercado at ito ang Newsroom ngayon. Susunod na ang Sports Desk, kasama si Andre Felix. Bail regarding a cyber libel case filed against her. The NBI agents arrested Ressa past 5 o'clock in the afternoon yesterday at their office in Pasig City. Our George Cahilas will now give us the latest. George. Go ahead, George. George Cahilas, our correspondent, is currently in the Manila RTC Branch 45, where journalist Maria Ressa and Rappler CEO is expected to post bail this morning. George Cahilas, are you there? So we're looking at live pictures of Rappler founder and CEO Maria Ressa in Branch 45. George Cahilas, are you there, George? Meantime, the Justice Department defends the arrest of Rappler CEO and Executive Editor Maria Ressa for a cyber libel case. Ressa was arrested yesterday at her office in Pasig City past 5 o'clock in the afternoon. In an interview on The Source, Justice Undersecretary Mark Perete says the arrest order adopted the new or republished article of the case.
Investigating prosecutor is that, there are two theories, I think, that are, which form the basis for the decision. First is there was a republication sometime in February of 2014, which somehow constituted a separate offense, which is the basis for the information. And the second is that it may be a continuing, considered as a continuing offense.
You can catch a full interview on The Source later at 2 in the afternoon and at 7:30 p.m. Meanwhile, let's go back to George Cahilas in Manila RTC Branch 45. George? Hello, George? So our breaking news for this morning, Rappler CEO Maria Ressa is currently at Branch 45 of the Manila RTC to post bail after she was arrested and charged of cyber libel. Ressa says that she will not be intimidated and promises to continue reporting the truth following her arrest due to a cybercrime case Wednesday night. It was late afternoon of February 13 when officials from the National Bureau of Investigation arrived at the online news site's headquarters to serve her warrant of arrest. The warrant was issued on February 12 by presiding Judge Raynelda Montesa of Manila RTC Branch 46. Meanwhile, the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines is calling Maria Ressa's arrest not only an attack on Philippine press freedom, but also an attack against Filipinos. They're calling for a nationwide protest tomorrow to condemn the arrest.
We are actually calling for a Black Friday protest tomorrow. Here in Manila, in Metro Manila, the main point is going to be at the Roces Circle in Quezon City. It is at 6 p.m. But we're calling a nationwide protest. We're calling all our members nationwide from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao to hold simultaneous protest.
All right.
And not just the media. No, but that we are calling ordinary citizens because, as I've said earlier, the attack on press freedom is the attack on the people's right to information.
Do follow CNN Philippines for more details on this developing story. I'm Cherry Mercado. Balitaan comes your way at 12. Good morning.
Narito na ang balitaan sa CNN Philippines. Rappler CEO Maria Ressa kasalukuyang nasa Manila RTC para sa piyansa ng kasong cyber libel case laban sa kanya. Magandang tanghali, ako po si Pinky Webb. Nagpapiyansa na si Rappler CEO Maria Ressa sa Manila Regional Trial Court. Napilitang magpalipas ng gabi sa conference room ng NBI Anti-Crime Division si Ressa matapos siyang arestuhin at madetine sa kasong cyber libel. Pasado alas 5 kahapon ang pasukin ng mga abogado at mga NBI agent ang tanggapan ng Rappler para ihain ang arrest warrant sa kasong cyber libel na inihain laban sa kanya ng negosyanteng si Wilfredo King. Ang kaso ay nag-ugat sa isang artikulong inilathala ng Rappler hinggil sa sasakyan ni King na ipinagamit umano kay dating Chief Justice Renato Corona. Bigong makapagbayad ng piyansa ang kampo ni Ressa kahapon dahil hindi na tinanggap ng isang night court sa Pasay ang mosyon na maghain ng piyansa. Ayon sa nasabing korte, Regional Trial Court ang nag-issue ng arrest warrant at Metropolitan Trial Court lamang sila. Nakarating na sa Manila Regional Trial Court si Ressa kung saan siya magbabayad ng 100,000 pisong piyansa. Makibalita tayo sa aming correspondent na si George Cahilas. George.
Well, Pinky, siya ngayon nga ay nakaabang tayo dito sa labas ng Manila Regional Trial Court Branch 46 kung saan pinoproseso itong pagpapiyansa ni Rappler CEO Maria Ressa matapos nga siyang arestuhin kahapon sa kasong cyber libel. So mga bandang, as we know, siya ay nadetine after her arrest yesterday. Nadetine siya sa Cybercrime Division nitong National Bureau of Investigation. At kaninang alas 11 nga ng umaga, binyahe siya papunta dito sa Manila Regional Trial Court Branch 46 dahil hiniling daw ng judge ang kanyang physical presence. At kanina nga nakita natin doon sa loob na meron siya mga dokumento na pinirmahan at kinuhanan din siya ng fingerprints. So sa ngayon ay nakaabang pa rin tayo dito waiting for updates kung maaprubahan ba itong petition for itong pagpapiyansa niya at kung papayagan na siya ng korte na makalaya within the day. So intayin lang natin kung maglalabas itong korte ng release order dito kay Maria Ressa. Pinky.
George, pero yung judge na nag-issue ng arrest warrant ay hindi siya yung judge ngayon na pupuntahan ni Maria Ressa?
Tama yun, Pinky, kasi wala daw ngayon dito si Judge Rainier da Montesa. Kung kaya yung judge ng RTC Branch 45, si Judge Maria Teresa Abadilla ang siyang titirma o siyang mag-a-aproba nitong mga prosesong isinasagawa ngayon. Pero ito pa rin is under Regional Trial Court Branch 46. So wala lang si Judge pero ang processing ay dito pa rin sa Branch 46.
Oo, at mukhang ang pinapabayad ata kay Maria Ressa is 100,000 para sa kanyang piyansa.
Oo, tama yun. Kanina na kausap natin yung mga staff at saka itong clerk of court dito sa Branch 46 at sinabi nga nila 100,000 itong hinihinging bill o piyansa para sa freedom nitong si Maria Ressa.
George, kanina na-interview mo din si Maria Ressa sa NBI at sinabi niya parang pang-4 na beses na daw niya itong nagbayad ng piyansa?
Actually, 6 times. 6 na, pang-6 na, Pinky. O kasi may mga kaso nga siya na tax evasion. At supposedly nga daw today ay may flight siya palabas ng bansa. Pero nakahingi na rin daw siya ng permiso sa mga korte para payagan siya makalabas. Pero what happened yesterday, siya nga ay inaresto at hindi siya natuloy sa kanyang biyahe ngayong umaga.
May sinabi pa siya, George, na parang sa dami ng binayad niyang piyansa, parang to the effect na mas madami pa daw siyang binayad kaysa kay former First Lady Imelda Marcos.
Oo, yan nga yung kaninang binabanggit niya kanina na parang sa dami nga ng binayad niyang piyansa sa mga kasong isinampa sa kanya, including this one, na 100,000 nga itong bail na hinihingi sa kanya, ay talagang malaki-laki na nga daw nilabas niyang pera. At sa ngayon ay ang paninindigan naman ni Maria Ressa ay ito ay harassment, ito ay pagkitil sa kanyang kalayaan, and sabi niya, this is not just about her freedom, but the people's freedom in general. Kasi sabi niya, kung nagagawa to sa akin with this particular case, kaya din gawin kahit kanino. Yun ang sabi niya kanina.
Ang sabi ng kanyang abogado kanina, George, na si Attorney Dicini, bail is a matter of right, no? Kaya nga kanina pang umaga, nandiyan na si Attorney JJ Dicini at ngayon nga nandiyan na si Maria kasama ng mga iba pang kasamahan niya sa Rappler. So patuloy nating babantayan ang kaganapan dyan at malaman kung mapapayagan ng ma-release si Maria Ressa ngayong tanghali o ngayong hapon. Maraming salamat sa iyo. Babalikan ka namin mamaya. George Cahiles, nag-uulat. Nagpasalamat naman ang negosyanteng si Wilfredo King sa paghahain ng Justice Department ng kasong cyber libel laban kay Maria Ressa. Bagamat itinuturing ni King na isang vindication ang pag-aresto kay Ressa, aminado siyang matatagalan pa bago tuluyang maresolba ang kaso. Ang reklamo ni King ay base sa Rappler article taong 2012 na CJ using SUVs of controversial businessmen kung saan iniuugnay umano si King sa human trafficking at drug smuggling. Giit ni King, biktima siya ng kasinungalingan at umaasa siyang mananaig ang katotohanan at hustisya. Una nang ibinasura ng NBI ang kaso dahil lumabas ang artikulo ng Rappler 4 na buwan bago maipasa ang cybercrime law. Pero ayon sa Justice Department, muling pinublish ang artikulo February 2014 kung saan nilabag ni Ressa ang anti-cybercrime law. Nauna nang inakusahan ng Rappler si King na may kinalaman sa illegal na droga at human trafficking. Itinuturing ng National Union of Journalists of the Philippines na isang pag-atake hindi lamang sa press freedom kundi maging sa mga Pilipino ang ginawang pag-aresto sa mamamahayag na si Maria Ressa. Nanawagan sila ng malawakang kilos protesta bukas para kondenahin ito.
We are actually calling for a Black Friday protest tomorrow. Here in Manila, in Metro Manila, the main point is going to be at the Rossi Circle in Quezon City. It is at 6 p.m. But we're calling a nationwide protest. We're calling all our members nationwide from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao to hold simultaneous protest.
All right.
And not just the media. No, but that we are calling ordinary citizens because, as I've said earlier, the attack on press freedom is the attack on the people's right to information.
Kampante naman ng abogado ni Ressa na makakalaya ng kanyang kliyente sa programang The Source. Sinabi ni Attorney JJ Dicini, handa ang kanilang kampong ang bayaran ng bail na itinakda ng korte.
Bail is a matter of right. So the only thing that could possibly delay her release is, say, some procedural, if the order is not issued in time. But I'm fairly confident under the circumstances that she will be out today.
Dagdag pa ni Dicini, tila hindi nabigyan ng sapat na panahon ng kanilang kampo para sagutin ang reklamo laban kay Ressa.
The resolution of the DOJ, I only received it 2 days ago. And so normally we would be given an opportunity to file a motion for reconsideration. We were not given that opportunity. All we heard were media reports that the resolution had come out. We had not formally received it.
Iginiit ng Justice Department na may basehan ang cyber libel case na isinampa nila laban kay Maria Ressa. Sa programang The Source, sinagot ni DOJ spokesman Mark Perete ang alegasyon na nangyari umanong insidente 4 na buwan bago naisabatas ang Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012.
There was a republication sometime in February of 2014, which somehow constituted a separate offense, which is the basis for the information. And the second is that it may be a continuing, considered as a continuing offense. So because of that, the republication happened after the passage of the law. In the contemplation of the law, it is a new article because of the modification and the republication.
Sinagot rin ni Perete kung bakit alas 5 ng hapon inihain ang arrest warrant laban kay Ressa. Ilan kasing kritikong nagsabi na sinadya ito upang hindi kaagad na makapagpiyansa si Ressa.
Under our rules of court, it's very explicit. Under Section 6 of Rule 113, it says a warrant of arrest may be served at any day and at any time of the day. So there is nothing legally infirm with the service of the arrest. Ms. Ressa has an opportunity and had the opportunity to post bail even prior to the issuance of a warrant of arrest. And she could have prevented, the service to her in this particular instance.
At kausapin po natin ngayon si Rappler CEO Maria Ressa. Ms. Ressa, magandang tanghali po sa inyo.
Wala siya. Hello? Hello?
Hello, magandang tanghali, ma'am. Nakapagpiyansa na ho ba kayo?
Hello?
Maria?
I heard the guy speaking and then he's gone. Hi, hello?
Maria?
Hello?
Okay, balikan natin. Hello? Maria, this is Pinky Webb. Siguro hindi pa tayo naririnig ni Maria ngayon. Gusto natin malaman kung nakapagpiyansa na siya. Subukan ulit natin, Maria. Ms. Ressa? Alright, balikan na lang natin. Tawagan na lang natin ulit si Maria Ressa. Is she on the line? Okay, Maria.
I'll just do an interview. Can you...
Hi, Maria. This is Pinky Webb. Maria?
Thank you.
Kasalukuyang nasa Manila RTC sa ating huling report, si Maria Ressa para nga magbayad na ng kanyang piyansang 100,000 pesos. Sinusubukan nating makapanayam si Maria Ressa para malaman ng huling kaganapan doon. Yung judge na nag-issue ng arrest warrant ay wala ngayong araw, so ibang judge ang nagfa-facilitate ng pag-post ng bail ni Maria Ressa. Alright, is she back on the line? Alright, balikan na lang natin. Kapag meron na tayong ulit connection kay Maria Ressa, kakausapin natin siya at alamin ang pinaka-latest. Alright, Maria? Hello, Maria?
Hi, Pinky.
Hi. Okay, this is Pinky Webb. You're live on CNN Philippines. Maria, nakapagpiyansa ka na ba?
I believe so. We've posted bail. We're just waiting for the order, and I expect that it will come out anytime soon.
Nasa loob ka ng, nasa Manila RTC ka ngayon. You're still there?
Nandito kami, oo. At saka, naghihintay lang kami. Medyo matagal na, pero parang sabi ng mga lawyers namin, konting-konti na lang.
Konting pasensya.
Yeah.
Opo. Maria, ano ba ang... pero sigurado ka na bang makakalaya ka ngayong araw? May sinasabi bang iyong mga abogado na baka maantala pa ito? Maybe it might not happen?
No, we've already posted bail. And so we're just waiting for the order that allows me to go. But, it's certainly been... there's so many instances where we should have been allowed to post bail that did not happen in the last, since yesterday, since the arrest warrant came.
You arrived at the NBI headquarters a little before 8 o'clock yesterday, and members or operatives of the NBI were at your office at 5 p.m. So the question that was being asked even on social media is, why did they have to issue or serve the arrest warrant at 5 p.m. knowing that courts would be closed? However, we spoke to the spokesperson of the DOJ, and he says that there's nothing illegal about serving an arrest warrant at 5 p.m. because they can actually serve an arrest warrant at any given time.
Yes, of course, power can do anything, Pinky, but the reality here is you can actually see malicious intent. I mean, look at it. They came at after 5 o'clock. That means regular court is out. There's one night court that we would have been able to post bail, and in fact, our lawyers were waiting to post bail, but the arrest warrant they got was lacking information. On purpose or not, whatever, it meant that there was no information about bail. Given that, the NBI could have chosen not to serve that warrant because they had 10 days to serve it. In fact, our lawyers pointed that out. I'm not a flight risk. I posted bail 5 times before this, right? This is the 6th time I'm posting bail. And finally, the judge in the night court refused to take the bail, even though that judge has the authority to take it. So you can't, I'm sorry, that's really, the DOJ statement is... let's say I know differently. The experience that we've seen, I'm watching our lawyers work the phones, work all of the court system, and there is intent to have kept me overnight. I mean, what they achieved with that, I I wonder, is it just to let me know that they have the power to do this? That's great. But they've also let everyone else know that they're willing to use the law, to weaponize the law against anyone. And the statements that they're making is very clear. And they said this to one of the Rapplers: be silent or you could be next. That's not what the government should be doing.
That was part of, the video of one of the journalists of Rappler who, she was taking a video inside the office of the Rappler headquarters, and apparently there was an NBI agent who was asking her to stop taking that video. That's correct. And I think that to me is most disturbing. My stay last night at the NBI really reminded me of what this is all about. One, I was held there against my will because there's an arrest warrant that was served. It was imperfect. It gave no way for me. It made it so that I could not file bail for a bailable offense. Even though I had the opportunity, I was denied. Second is, this is really abuse of power and weaponization of the law. I'm a journalist, and this isn't just about me and Rappler. I mean, think about it. Press freedom is the foundation of all of the rights of all Filipinos to the truth, right? That's what you do. That's what I do. That's what Filipinos need to be able to hold the powerful to account. But what happens when the powerful abuse their powers? Okay. That's what we're seeing. But just a couple of questions on why this all happened. The NBI and the DOJ is saying there was an article of Rappler back in May 2012. But at that time, it's about, the complainant, Mr. King, saying that the article was malicious about him supposedly lending a car to the former Chief Justice. But that article was written 4 months prior to the enactment of the cybercrime law. But Maria, DOJ is saying that in February 2014, it was published again. Hence, this forms part of the cybercrime law, or it's now included in the cybercrime law. I know, Pinky, this is from the last, again, right? 7 years ago. An article was posted 7 years ago before the cybercrime law, which was supposedly violated, before it was even enacted. That's one. Number two, the NBI already threw it out. Its own lawyers in the cybercrime division said that this is a ridiculous case and there wasn't enough. And yet it reappeared again magically the week after, right? And then finally, in terms of this, continuous publication, which is extremely dangerous to everyone in the Philippines, everyone on the internet, what we did in 2014 was to correct a typographical error. You cannot say that that is continuous publication. And if the government chooses to go through that, all the rights of all Filipinos writing on the internet, writing anywhere, will be at risk. So I asked the USEC regarding that. Can you tell me what typographical error was done during the February 2014 publishing of that artiwas republishing of the article? We can certainly get the details for you, but it wasn't even a misspelling. It was something like a letter was capitalized and then it wasn't. But I'm told I already have the release form. Okay. I have the release form. So, I promise, everyone has been, first, thank you for, keeping track of us. Because who knows? We're in new waters and all we have to do is to be vigilant. But the fact that I'm going through all of this not only makes me angry, but it also makes me more determined to make sure that we all know every step of the way what death by 1,000 cuts looks Maria,
like. But
I know you need to go, but what's your next move? Is there anything you're planning to do from here on?
We continue to fight. These charges are ridiculous. My new word is travesty. I keep looking for new words, and the government keeps supplying me with them. I have to speak to everyone else, Pinky. You know this, right? Yes. But thank you. Thank you. And certainly we can go into all the details. You can talk to our editor. We are transparent. It's something I demand from the government. This is my right as a citizen.
Maraming salamat, Rappler CEO Maria Ressa. Sa kasalukuyan, ang sabi ni Maria ay makakalaya na siya anytime. At syempre, ang kanyang pagbibigay din ng oportunidad at pagkakataon sa ibang mga network na makausap rin siya.
So, I have a release. So, are you free to go home, Maria? I'm free to go home.
One. Yeah. Okay. Can you get comfortable? Can you not? Okay.
Cellphone, pababa naman eh.
Okay lang? Okay lang. I'll make a statement. Open up. Okay. Guys, all right, bring it. I can't. I'll try to scream. Okay.
Ron, Mike.
Sorry,
Mike, go.
So this is my the sixth times I've posted bail in about 2 months, and this bail is for one charge, and it is 100,000 pesos. It may be the largest one of all of the 6 times I've posted bail. It's also the first time I've been arrested. Ito lang ang sasabihin ko. First of all, thank you everyone for the statements of support, for keeping track of everything that has happened. My stay last night at the NBI really made me think about what this is all about, right? And for me, it's about 2 things: abuse of power and weaponization of the law. This isn't just about me, and it's not just about Rappler. The message that the government is sending is very clear, and someone actually told our reporter this last night: be silent or you're next. So I'm saying, and I'm appealing to you not to be silent, even if, and especially if, you're next. You have to express outrage like I am doing now. This is not, press freedom is not just about journalists, right? It's not just about us. It's not just about me. It's not just about Rappler. Press freedom is the foundation of every single right of every Filipino to the truth, so that we can hold the powerful to account. What we're seeing is death by 1,000 cuts of our democracy. And I appeal to you to join me. I've said this. I've been thinking about this for a long time. I always said that when I look back a decade from now, I want to make sure. I want to make sure that I have done all I can. We will not duck. We will not hide. We will hold the line. And, you know, you being here, you standing witness, you asking tough questions, journalists and citizens, how we all derive our rights from each other. This is incredibly important for us in the Philippines today.
Maria, what will be the next action after your release? Of course, what's the plan of your team?
Everything is new. You know, it's funny. We should know what the law and what the processes are, but they're very small and big differences in the processes that I've gone through. And I've seen our lawyers go through all of it. You can talk to our lawyers about it. But I think right now, we continue to fight in court. And I will appeal again to the men and women in the Philippine judiciary, at the police, at the NBI. You are men and women, individuals with your own values. If you're asked to do something wrong, don't do it. You know the spirit of the law. Do not be manipulated to violate the spirit of the Constitution.
Are you going to make a complaint on the manner of your arrest?
Our lawyers are working on everything. I mean, the immediate next step is to go and look at everything. I mean, look at all the papers that were served and were not served. You know, why did a paper that was given to the NBI, the arrest warrant that was imperfect, that didn't have the information for bail, why was that executed the same day it was given to them after the courts were closed? And then why was the one night court that was open with the ability to actually grant bail, why did it not post bail? Why was I not allowed to post bail last night? These are all questions our lawyers will ask. And, you know, I think what I can tell you is I'll be very transparent because I have done nothing. Sorry. I've done...
Can you run us through what happened inside the courtroom earlier?
Sure. I mean, process, right?
Yes.
What happened in the courtroom is posted bail. I posted bail. I guess there's one thing that someone asked me earlier, and I finally saw the statements by the DOJ. The DOJ said that this is really our fault because we could have... Well, let me turn it around. DOJ, Secretary Guevara, who is, I thought, a professional, these are your actions. The ripple effects are what we feel in society, but you don't want to be known as the Secretary of Injustice. I also have the right to hold you accountable. I am a citizen of this country, and you cannot violate my rights.
Maria, can you substantiate that? Why Secretary Guevara? Why is this?
Well, I mean, take a look. The cyber libel case, a case that was already thrown out by the NBI, number one. It was a case for a story that was done 7 years ago. When the NBI threw it out, it made the right decision, and then it magically appeared again a week later. I always say this is politically motivated, and I don't know why the government is afraid of the truth. They should be the first.
Why are you being singled?
Maybe because I stand up and say things like this, you know, but you shouldn't be afraid of that. In fact, it should make government stronger. That is the check and balance of journalism and government. We've done this through many administrations. I've been here before, and I will be here after.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Attorney JJ. Hi. Sir. Hi, sir. Sir, tanong lang ako, sir. Can we do a timeline when this warrant kailan ninyo na and how it was served? Can you just walk through this?
So, the DOJ...
Before you answer, I think you're not. Okay na ba?
Ready ba lahat?
Okay na lahat? Okay.
Okay.
So, based on the records of the court, the information was filed by the DOJ on February 6. As we understand it, a letter from the NBI on February 7 was sent asking for a copy of the arrest warrant. Now, the judge signed the arrest warrant on February 12, and that was on Monday. And on February 13, after office hours, after 5 p.m., the NBI agents served the warrant on Maria Ressa at the Rappler offices. And as you know, afterwards there were attempts for Maria to post bail in a night court, but the judges took the position that they had no jurisdiction, and therefore this prompted us to file the motion for bail at the regional trial court that issued the arrest warrant this morning, and the release order was signed moments ago.
Attorney, what was Judge Montesa's ground for the probable cause where she ordered the issuance of the warrant of arrest? Have you able to read it?
No, I've not read the determination of probable cause, but obviously the judge would not have issued the arrest warrant if she did not make her own assessment of probable cause in this particular case.
But do you have the copy of the reso?
We have a copy of the DOJ reso, but the court doesn't issue a resolution resolution with respect to the determination of probable cause. In other words, she agrees with the position taken by the DOJ.
How would you reply to that in further pleadings so hindi niyo po alam kung ano yung probable cause na nahanap ni Judge?
No, I think the judge basically agrees with the determination of probable cause by the Department of Justice based on the records that are before her. And what we will do is we will file a separate motion to question the information that was filed and try to have it quashed.
Attorney, we're just curious, 100,000, is that normal for cyber libel under the cybercrime law? Kasi parang yung RPC ata 25K lang ang libel.
That's right. So under the Cybercrime Prevention Act, actually a lot of the offenses, the bail is 120,000, and if it's a critical infrastructure, it's 200,000. In the case of cyber libel, it's 100. So this is par for the course or expected for cybercrime cases. The bail is quite high.
Attorney, this is the 6th time that Maria posted bail. Is that correct?
Well, there were 5 other cases that were
Malaya
initiated
na
against her,
si
criminal cases.
Rappler CEO Maria Ressa matapos magbayad ng 100,000 pesos na bail. Napilitang mag-overnight si Maria Ressa sa NBI dahil nga hindi siya nakapag-bail kahapon nang iserve ang arrest warrant sa kanyang opisina sa headquarters ng Rappler bago maglampas sa alas 5 kahapon. Ang sabi ni Maria Ressa ay yung kanyang pananatili sa NBI kagabi, magdamag, ay it made her think dalawang bagay po. Ang una ay ang tinatawag niyang abuse of power at ang pangalawa ay weaponization, ang kanyang tinatawag na weaponization of the law. Umapila si Ressa sa pulis, sa mga huwes, sa miyembro ng Supreme Court na huwag gumawa ng mali. If you are asked to do something wrong, sabi niya, do not do it. At huwag daw sirain ang spirit of the Constitution. Meron ding apila si Maria Ressa kay Secretary Guevara. Sinabi niyang, these are your actions. Ayaw mong makilala bilang isang Secretary of Injustice. At sabi pa niya kay Secretary Guevara, you cannot violate my rights. Sabay pasasalamat siyempre sa mga supporters ang binigay na statement ni Maria Ressa sa lahat ng sumuporta sa kanya. Sinabi niyang maraming salamat at ang kanyang linya, we will not duck, we will not hide, we will continue to hold the line. Pagkatapos nun ay nagsalita ang kanyang abogado na si Attorney JJ Dicini. At yan ang kabuuan ng balitaan ngayong Webes, February 14, 2019. Ako po si Pinky Webb. Hanggang bukas, magandang tanghali.
Sir, they were saying na baseless sinabi na rin na dati, itong kaso na ito, itong pag-arrest warrant na ito, and ito pong CCDU na investigate, no?
Yes, ma'am. Pero elevated na kasi yan sa court, ma'am. At the same time, let's be reminded, sir, na ito, ma'am, service of warrant of arrest lang yan. Yung case elevated na sa court, and we cannot discuss yung details na nasa court na.
Sir, again for the record, ano ba yung dahilan, sir, kung bakit from initially jumping the case at the complaint ay itinuloy po natin siya ulit after some time?
Sir, the mere fact na elevated na yan sa court, sir, diretso naman na i-file, if I could remember it right, directly final yan, sir, ng NBI.
Sir, tingin niyo ba maka-apekto yung nangyari dati na yung dating hepe dito, si Atty. Duarte, parang sinabi niya na walang nakitang basis pa yung legal division na ituloy yung pagsasampa ng kaso, and then later binaliktad, binawi, and then final pa rin. Parang nagbago ng isip ang NBI, maka-apekto ba yun sa kaso?
Hindi natin, sir, ma-assess. They could easily raise that dun sa matter of defense to support yung defense nila later on dun sa court. I-raise nila yan, sir, in court.
Pero may papel ba yun, sir, yung sinabi na walang basihan? Or nireview pa ng legal department? Would you know?
Hindi kasi ako privy nun at that time. Wala ako dito nun.
Okay. So, para lang, sir, maano yung agam-agam ng mga tao. Kasi parang yung opinion ng iba, parang ginamit kayo ng DOJ or ng gobyerno para i-harass ang Rappler o si Maria Ressa. Ano masasabi niya doon, sir?
Alam, hindi kasi, ang tinitingnan kasi namin, may order lang ang court officially assigned sa amin, i-implement lang namin. Hindi namin makikita yung politics behind everything. Nakikita lang namin may order at i-implement namin.
Sir, sorry panghuli na, kasi issue pala kahapon yung information sheet daw galing sa court, which sana ay naka-indicate doon yung amount of bail. Kaya hindi daw tinanggap po ng Pasay Court because nawawala nga yung information sheet. And sir, kung natanggap niyo sir yung warrant, may kalakip ba sir na information sheet from the court?
Yung warrant of arrest lang ang na-receive namin. Tama ka na hindi nga na-indicate yata yung bail recommended. But we clarified with the court kung ano yung bail recommended. Kaya
ano pong pagkakasabi sa ng court?
Na may impose na bail recommended doon.
Thank you.
May tanong.
Sir, baka natanong na din. Curious lang ako. Pero kasi sir, sinasabi nila, nilabas yung warrant on the 12th. Pero bakit parang it took you almost 1 working day and then past 5 pa bago i-serve yung warrant ko?
Madami kasing proseso yan eh. It should be officially assigned dun sa division. Of course, we have to strategize at i-assemble din namin yung team namin so going to implement. May mga logistical at the same time operational requirement before a service of a warrant of arrest.
When you say that, ano yung mga, pwede ba maging parang specific lang sir? Ano po ba yung mga inayos pa natin para umabot tayo ng alas 5 ng hapon sa pagka-prepare mo?
Madaming requirement yan. Of course, logistical requirement. Unang-una, i-verify namin kung yung legitimacy ng order. Confirm namin with our superiors kung ano ang action plan, ano ang direction namin. Or at the same time, madami din kasi kung makikita mo, madami din talagang iniimbestigahan ang Cybercrime Division. So, tinitingnan namin kung kailan kami pwedeng mag-implement.
Kasi sir, may sinasabi sila na sinadya siya para makapag-stay siya dito overnight. So, at the same time, may problema yung warrant yet sinerve pa rin. What's your take on that?
Sa tingin namin, it's a valid order. Specific ang order to arrest 2 individuals. Naka-indicate doon. That's why we implemented it.
Despite the lack of recommended bail or specified dun sa warrant, sir. Walang infirmity para sa inyo.
But that's why we coordinate directly with the courts to ask them what's the bail recommended for this. We clarified that before we serve the warrant of arrest.
Did the court say what was the recommendation?
Yes, ma'am.
Yun nga pala, bakit ang inaresto si Maria lang? Bakit yung Rinaldo Santos hindi na-aresto?
At that time, sir, wala eh. Wala siya doon. Nag-resign na siya 1 year ago.
But are you looking, your team is also looking for him? Or
na-arrest na siya, sir?
Hindi. Pagpiyansa na kanina yun.
Oo.
Meron message si Maria Ressa, sir, kanina to the FBI, to the PNP, na sinasabi niya, if inuutosan ng mali, huwag sundan. What's your take on that?
Ang tinitingnan lang namin, ma'am, kasi yung court order, legitimate court order. Ang from law enforcement point of view, ma'am, hindi kami dapat mag-interpret eh. Dapat tinitingnan lang namin yung specific court order. Na arrestuhin to or serve yung warrant of arrest or any order coming from the court.
Mayor, yung pagdating na dito, sir, 30 minutes to 45 minutes before the process yung booking niya. Ganun po ba talaga yung process, sir? Ganun katagal? Almost an hour?
Mabilis nga yung booking niya man eh. Oh, of course, may mga discussion niya. For every procedure, we allow her to confer with her lawyer, ma'am. Baka kasi may mga hindi siya comfortable masyado and we allowed her. Ma'am, ganito ang gagawin. You may confer with your lawyer. That's why hindi naman tumagal. Actually, napakabilis ng processing.
Tapos, sir, prefer naman tungkol kay Ken. Because parang ang sabi, even sa business community, it's not known. Based intelligence ng NBI, who is he? Yung complainants ng asset.
Personally, ma'am, hindi ko kilala siya.
Okay, but NBI records, not personal. NBI records, NBI intelligence, what do they say about Ken?
Hindi ako ma'am privy dun sa hindi kami sa intelligence ba.
And hindi rin kayo head ng time?
Yeah, hindi ako head ng time. Thank you. Thank you.
So, clarify ko lang, na-aresto ba si Reynaldo Santos, sir? Or hindi?
Hindi siya na-arrest.
So, inunahan niya ng pag-bail?
Tama yun, sir.
Siya rin ba? Siya rin ba?
So by the time, because dami ng alam niya na, ano yung course of action. It is actually tama.
Actually, okay din mo. So, ibig sabihin, sir, kung wala pala si Maria kahapon, siyempre, walang aresto ang mangyayari. Babalik lang din kayo.
Oo. Balik din kami. Up to the time na ma-arrest namin. Kasi ang fixed point niya, di ba? Remember, yung office. Doon ka babalik-babalik.
Time yung pagpunta ng inyong mga tao sa...
Oo.
So, malaki parang ginawa surveillance na, ganito oras, nandiyan siya, walang gano'n.
Hindi, kung titignan mo kasi, ang pinaka-logical is before 5, yung working hour, yung work, diba? 8 to 5, diba?
Sir, do you know that she's supposed to fly out of the country today, this morning?
Hindi. Kasi na-receive lang namin ang yung warrant of arrest, di ba? Mga more or less 12 na.
Anong oras ng adose na receive, sir?
Hindi ko nakita eh. 12, 13. Hindi ko nakita. Na-receive lang namin kasi yung copy ng warrant.
Sir, tawag ito na. Tanong kayo sa kalapon, no? Kasi nagreklamo Rappler, sinabi din naman ni Maria kanina na the agents daw threatened Rappler reporters kahapon during the arrest. Sinabihan na sila yung susunod.
Magkakaroon kasi ng conflict doon, ma'am, doon sa information na yan. And the testimony of Ma'am Ressa. Kasi, di ba sinasabi niya that the NBI agents were kind and courteous.
Okay.
So, madidispel yung allegations, ma'am, na may trineten. In fact, bakit mo na may trineten? Walang need. Wala naman.
Video, and then parang hindi lang verbatim yung sa akin. Kaya sabi is, pag lumabas yung case nila online, you will be next. Parang you're next, something like that.
Hindi pwede, ma'am, kasi naka-live stream sa live feed at the time. Kaya nga na-feed nga, ma'am, di ba? Kasi nobody's preventing them from taking videos.
Pero na-inform kayo about this, sir? Or yung ganitong allegations na may NBI?
May mga nagtanong, ma'am, katulad mo.
Pero right then and there, may umalma ba sa kanila or sa inyo na reporter ng Rappler or taga-Rappler?
Wala, very cooperative naman sila. Kaya nga napaka-smooth nung we allowed them to wait for their lawyers. Ma'am, kung anong gusto mo, di ba, hintayin ka namin.
Sir, yung palang pag-stay nila dito sa conference, was it their request or you just agreed on, ito lang muna kayo kaysa dalhin siya doon sa
yung flight kasi, hindi naman siya flight risk. Pangalawa, yung processing time. Yung processing time sa pag-booking, sa pag-take ng photos, tapos yung
This is Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines. I'm Pia Ontiveros. Tonight on the program, an outpouring of support for the chief of the online site Rappler from across the world. A defiant Maria Ressa says her arrest in a cyber libel case is an attack on press freedom. But President Duterte's men insist it isn't so. The presidential spokesperson and Justice Secretary tell Ressa to drop the drama and rhetoric. Rappler CEO Maria Ressa vowing to fight what she says is an attack on press freedom. Ressa now out on bail after she was arrested last night by agents of the National Bureau of Investigation at her office in Pasig City. This is in connection with a cyber libel complaint stemming from a 7-year-old news article. The arrest has grabbed headlines here and abroad and has sparked criticism from members of the media and other sectors. But the government insists the case has nothing to do with press freedom. Rappler CEO Maria Ressa says the timing of her arrest was a planned move. She also says NBI agents threatened one of Rappler's reporters, a claim the agents have denied. Our George Quiles reports.
Let me get free. Happy Valentine's. Wow. Thank you, NBI, DOJ. I get your message.
Despite detention, Rappler CEO Maria Ressa still cracks jokes about her situation. It's Valentine's Day, and an NBI employee dressed as Cupid even gave Ressa a rose after she spent the night detained at the Cybercrime Division of the NBI for a cyber libel case. Ressa says it's a planned move. Have her arrested after office hours for a slimmer chance to post bail before a court.
If they wanted to send me a message, the message is clear. It's an abuse of power. It's a weaponization of the law.
If we were aware that the case had been filed, we would have surrendered voluntarily.
The cyber libel case filed against Maria Ressa and former staff Reynaldo Santos stemmed from a complaint from businessman Wilfredo King about a Rappler story in 2012 which tackled the alleged connection of King with former Chief Justice Renato Corona. Last year, the NBI junked King's complaint, but a week after, they changed their minds and filed the cyber libel case. The Justice Department filed the case on February 6th, and on Tuesday, the Manila Regional Trial Court Branch 46 issued an arrest warrant against Ressa and Santos. The NBI insists they do not have the intention to detain Ressa.
Yung first opportunity namin na ma-implement, ma-serve yung warrant of arrest, doon namin ginawa. Pumunta kami dun sa office niya, it just so happened na nandun siya. That's why, isinerve na namin yung warrant of arrest. Kung wala siya dun, babalik na naman kami kinabukasan. It was not our intention na sabi natin hindi makapagpiyansa.
As Ressa's legal team attempted to post 100,000 peso bail early morning Thursday, the judge required Ressa's presence. That's why she had to travel from the NBI to the court. And after an hour of processing, Ressa stepped out of the court carrying her release order.
This isn't just about me, and it's not just about Rappler. The message that the government is sending is very clear, and someone actually told our reporter this last night: be silent or you're next. When I look back a decade from now, I want to make sure that I have done all I can. We will not duck. We will not hide. We will hold the line.
Ressa's legal team says her cyber libel case has an implication to free press. The Justice Department insists that the prescriptive period for cyber libel is 12 years after publication. But Ressa's legal team says it must only be a year.
With the position taken by the DOJ, anything you publish between now and 2012 is open for potential lawsuit. So there could be cases that other lawyers would have said, oh, you can't file that case anymore because the 1 year period has lapsed. Now those lawyers can say, look, the DOJ said it's 12 years, and now we can file the cyber libel cases.
Why?
Oh, really?
They're also studying the incident at the Rappler office when NBI agents were arresting Ressa. A video of a Rappler reporter shows a supposed NBI agent tried to stop them from taking videos of the arrest.
Makikita mo, naka-live stream nga siya, di ba? Naka-live feed. So wala talagang effort na ganun. Walang logic, bakit namin gagawin?
Meantime, Ressa's lawyer plans to file a motion to nullify the cyber libel case as soon as they can. George Quiles, CNN Philippines.
While Ressa claims that her arrest was a planned move, Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara says it's all part of the procedure. In a statement, Guevara said Ressa and her counsel should have anticipated her arrest and should have preempted it by posting bail. He points out information of the case was filed in court nearly 2 weeks ago. But in a message to Guevara, Ressa says, quote, "You don't want to be known as the Secretary of Injustice," adding that she also has the right to hold Guevara accountable for violating her rights. Responding to the Rappler CEO's remarks, Guevara says he trusts that the court will give her a fair trial based solely on facts and the law and not on emotional rhetoric. Well, we now go above and beyond the headlines with Rappler CEO Maria Ressa joining us via Skype. We also have on the line Victor Lorenzo. He is the Executive Officer of the National Bureau of Investigation Cybercrime Division that served that warrant yesterday on Maria Ressa. We'll talk to him later. But first, Maria, let's go to you. Good evening. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Pia.
Yeah, Maria, I hope you don't mind. Let's talk first about what happened yesterday and the idea of decriminalizing libel. Is what happened to you an argument for that?
Absolutely. I mean, libel has always been used in the past against journalists as a way to try to control and to manipulate journalists, right? We've said this, it's part of the reason when the whole debate about the cybercrime law was coming up in 2012, Rappler actually took a position against it. And as many journalists did. The biggest problem with cybercrime, with the cybercrime law, is that it actually doubles any of the, all of the, the punishment. So it takes an imperfect law, something that we wanted to change, and then doubles the punishment on the journalist or whoever is the target of that one.
Yeah, your lawyers believe that 1 year lang dapat ang well, what is the exact term? 1 year since the alleged crime was committed, the charge, but the interpretation of the DOJ is many more years. But how do you see this? What should it be?
There's so many things that are irregular about this. And in a strange way, if I needed to be arrested, the ludicrousness of this situation points that out. First is that the actual story that they're looking at was published months before the cybercrime law was even enacted. So how can you make a law retroactive? Yeah, and then the second one is the NBI's own lawyers actually threw this case out. And then, this goes to the Department of Justice and the Secretary of Justice. They decided to revive it about a week later. So, I understand the rhetoric of both Malacanang and Secretary Guevara, but as you pointed out, I just look at the actions. And let me speak as an individual whose rights have been violated. I've been speaking as a journalist for many months, right? Because I think our mission is extremely important now. That's what Rappler believes in. But now I speak as Maria, the citizen, whose rights have been violated.
Yeah, we'll go back.
If there was no malicious intent to keep me in detention last night, I have the right to bail on this charge. That is a right. It isn't nice to have, or maybe we will give it to you. It is a right.
Yeah.
And the
Maria, can you confirm, did your lawyers try to post bail yesterday? How did that happen? Naghanap ba sila ng korte? Ganun ba? Anong...
So this is the 6th time I've posted bail in about 2 months, right? And in general, you assume, if I assume good faith in the government, for something bailable like this, they would give me a chance to post bail. Look again at the circumstances of this case. They came in at after 5 p.m., knowing that the regular courts are out. We know because we've been keeping track of where we can post bail. We knew there was a court that was open until 9 p.m. and our lawyers were there by 7 p.m. ready to post bail, right? So I actually got to the NBI, and even whether or not I should have gone to the NBI, frankly, that was out of courtesy to the officers who were here, but I shouldn't have had to go. But
you could have, in other words, you could have been brought just straight to the court that was open at 7 o'clock in the evening. What court was this? Which branch that you said your lawyers were at 7?
It's in Pasay City, yeah. It's a court that had jurisdiction to actually grant bail, to take the money that we were offering and to give me bail because it was the only one open at that time.
Okay, so you did go to the NBI. Yeah, you did go to the NBI because, you were asked to, no? You were asked to go with them.
I went because they waited for our lawyers, and I thought I would be out by the evening, because our other set of lawyers were already ready to post bail. Right. What they neglected to tell me was that they didn't actually have complete documentation, meaning they had the arrest warrant, but they didn't have the information sheet, which actually told you how much bail could be set. And if you look, the Inquirer's headline today is that it wasn't a bailable charge. It is. But the reason why they thought that was because in the actual arrest warrant, it didn't set any amount for bail.
Yeah.
That's irregular to begin with. So I would ask that judge why issue an arrest warrant without bail, right?
I wonder, Maria, if you can talk about the article itself. No? So Rappler wrote an article and mentioning this businessman Wilfredo Keng. Was that yung content ng article? Was that libelous? Did you say anything, write anything libelous about Mr. Keng?
Nothing. And in fact, not only was this vetted by our most senior leadership, but one of the people involved in this is our senior investigative reporter, the late Aris Rufo, who quoted the intelligence document. You know, Aris's work has been quoted tremendously by President Duterte himself. In fact, he gives away Aris's investigative book on the church, right? So, I mean, the work is good, and I heard some of what Mr. Keng's lawyers have said. We have never offered to take down an article because once it's vetted, we stand by what we write. If there is an error, we have a corrections page that's very transparent. The timing is very suspicious for me. It's 7 years after that article was published, and the cybercrime law hadn't been enacted yet.
The circumstances surrounding the arrest actually became part of the story also. So you had one of your young reporters taking video with her smartphone, and she was being told by one agent to stop, in so many words. Were any laws being violated at that point? Because if you do try to interfere in a law enforcement operation, for example, the serving of a warrant of arrest, then that can be problematic. At any point, was your reporter interfering with the law enforcement operation?
Never, never. And I actually think, you know, if I were to say what's happening both to me and to Rappler, it's death by 1,000 cuts. You know, you break the law, you break the Constitution, not by saying, I'm going to break it. You do it by sliding the line so that the law is broken. I think in this situation, you know, if you're doing it in a place and people start taking video, you really can't prevent that. It is the right of a journalist to do that. You know, Pia, we had this debate during the Peninsula Siege, right? And we took it all the way to the Supreme Court. I think there is always a balance between the public's right to know and the state's right to protect itself. In this instance, I'll say that the agents, the officers of the NBI were actually, in general, the guys I dealt with were very courteous. They read me my Miranda rights. In fact, we walked into the room because I also, you know, ang sabi nila sa akin, they said, ma'am, trabaho lang po ito. And, you know, to a degree, yes, I agree, but I also pointed out to them, alam nyo naman, don't violate my rights kasi every one of us chooses what we do. And in this instance, my rights were violated. Sorry, let me go back to it's Aika whose video, you can see the NBI officer turning her video away. There's nothing of national security here. In fact, frankly, because I have the right to bail here, this isn't a nice to have, because I have that right, the officer...
And the service of a warrant of arrest is a public procedure, something that can happen and can be witnessed by the public, by anyone. And that's why I said kanina, ang tanong ko is, did she interfere with the law enforcement operation? Because that is the only time that can be a problem. That is the time na pwede siyang i-accost ng agents of the law and say, you know, you're doing something illegal. So
that was the argument at Peninsula. No, she did not interfere, and in fact, our head of multimedia actually stepped in to protect her, to make sure there's always that the push and pull when something like that happens. But in this situation, the officers came after office hours, after court was closed, and we were documenting it. And whether they wanted it public or not, that's not really their call. You know, we were doing our jobs.
Okay, Maria, my last question. The administration telling you to, you know, drop the drama, drop the rhetoric, etc. And earlier today, when you got your release order and you were speaking to the media afterwards, you did turn very emotional.
Yeah, of course. Emotional because I'm extremely sad about what's happening in our country. I've been a reporter for more than 30 years. I've covered all the administration since Marcos.
All right, we have a problem with the line to Maria Ressa in the Rappler headquarters in Pasig, but we did get the meat of that interview. Let's speak now to Attorney Vic Lorenzo. He is the chief of the NBI Cybercrime Division. Attorney Lorenzo, good evening.
Yes, Ma'am Pia. Good evening and happy Valentine's too.
Well, happy Valentine's to you, and well, you can call me Pia lang po. But anyway, Attorney Vic, so you headed the team that served the warrant of arrest on Maria Ressa yesterday.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Let's talk first about that video that the young Rappler reporter was taking off what was going on in their newsroom. And you could clearly hear one of your men telling her to stop and saying in so many words that if you don't stop, you're next, etc. Have you been able to speak to your agent about this, to ask him what happened, and have you been able to view this video?
Actually, ma'am, we have to. I have yet to discuss this with some of the agents who were present during the service of the warrant of arrest. But, ma'am, let me talk with them first. So I will have a definite answer to that, ma'am.
Okay.
But the direction, actually, ma'am, we never had the time to talk to our agents because there were so many things happening with the Cybercrime Division, ma'am. They have accompanied Ma'am Ressa to the courts. We prepared documents, and we haven't gotten to meet yet, ma'am.
Okay. So hindi mo pa and well, okay, that's fair enough. Maybe we can talk to you after you do talk to your men. Because apparently it's become part of the story also, how this one agent had spoken to one of the young Rappler reporters who was taking that video. But anyway, Attorney Lorenzo, at any point in time, did you and your agents feel that you were violating the rights of Maria Ressa? Because that is what she says, is what happened.
Ma'am, from our point of view, ma'am, we were just following the orders coming from the court, ma'am. There was a valid warrant of arrest against her, and we went to her office and served the warrant of arrest.
Attorney Vic, is it correct, etong kaso na to, the NBI dropped it before, you shelved it or something? Tama ba yon? Tapos parang binuhay lang ulit? Can you tell us exactly what happened ba?
Hindi ako actually privy kasi doon, ma'am, sa actual investigation ng case. Oh, ma'am, I was not the chief at that time when they filed the case. So hindi ko, ma'am, alam yung nitty-gritty details on how they filed the case. Saka, ma'am, it is already pending with the courts.
Oo, yes. Attorney Vic, itong ang batas ba na ito, pwede po ba siyang retroactive?
Walang retroactive effect ang laws natin, ma'am.
Okay, because it was passed after the alleged violation, no? After the alleged libel. Kasi ang storya na ito 2012, hindi ba? Even before the law was passed or even before this Republic Act became law.
Ma'am, sorry ma'am kasi hindi ako privy dun sa actual investigation of the case. So I don't know the details noong case, ma'am. And it's already pending with the court, ma'am. Kung may mga issues that will be raised by the defense, ma'am, let it be raised sa proper court, ma'am.
Okay. Attorney Vic, the decision to serve the warrant at past 5 in the afternoon, whose decision was that? And how did that happen?
Ma'am, there's no specification in the warrant of arrest what time it will be served. It could be served at night time and daytime. And yung first opportunity namin, ma'am, to serve a warrant of arrest, regardless kung ano warrant of arrest yan, ma'am, we will be implementing it, ma'am.
Okay.
In this case, ma'am, after we received yung instruction or yung official assignment to serve the warrant of arrest, we just immediately went to the office of Rappler, ma'am. And it just so happened, nandun si Ma'am Ressa. So we have to serve the warrant of arrest.
So, Attorney Vic, ang sinasabi po ninyo, February 13, late afternoon, that was the time na natanggap ng inyong opisina sa NBI ang arrest warrant galing sa korte. Ganun po ba yun? Kasi,
yes, ma'am. 13, ma'am. 13.
13. Kasi Feb 12 na issue ng korte And then it took like 24 hours bago siya nakarating sa inyo. And you're saying na the minute or a few minutes after na dumating siya doon sa opisina nyo, late afternoon, ganun ba? Kahapon, late afternoon, dumating sa inyo. That's the time na pumunta kayo ng Rappler.
I think we left Rappler, ma'am, we arrived at Rappler around 5 p.m. And I think we finished serving the warrant by 6:30 because we waited for her lawyers, ma'am.
Yeah, oo. But I mean, because her point and the point of so many other people is that lampas na sa office hours kasi, hindi ba? At paano sila makakapag-post ng bail? And then nagkaroon pa ng problema dun sa isang korte kung saan gusto nila sana mag-post ng bail. So kumbaga, kumbaga ang punto nila is if the warrant of arrest had been served much earlier during the day, then hindi aabot sa ganito na kailangan mag-overnight stay siya sa NBI.
Ma'am, we understand their point, ma'am. But from the operatives' point of view, ma'am, we serve warrant of arrest, ma'am, regardless of time. For as long as it is a valid warrant, ma'am, we will serve it. In fact, ma'am, kung wala si Ma'am Ressa at that time sa office, we will go back again the following day to attempt to serve the warrant of arrest. Ganun naman yun, ma'am. There's no hindi kami definite na nandun siya. Ganun ang pag-serve. Sometimes we serve warrants of arrest and turns out negative.
Right.
And we just keep on attempting to serve yung warrant of arrest.
Basta
and it used to happen, ma'am. Nandun siya.
Like in any law enforcement operation, tinitingnan lang ng law enforcer yung address ng kailangan serban nila ng warrant at yun ang pupuntahan.
Tama po yun, ma'am. Tama po.
Okay. Well, anyway, Attorney Vic Lorenzo of the NBI, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Returning to our top story, Rappler CEO Maria Ressa crying abuse over her arrest for a cyber libel complaint. Ressa is saying this is an attack on press freedom. Netizens joining the debate. This Twitter user says freedom is never absolute. The netizen says just because people are called out for breaking the rules, it doesn't mean their rights are being curtailed. Another Twitter user agrees, saying press freedom is not an excuse to write fake news. Other netizens siding with the Rappler CEO and believing that government is trying to suppress the media. Ina says some people will never understand the importance of press freedom until it's gone. And finally, Sean Brent says history will testify to Maria Ressa's unwavering defense of press freedom, and it will paint a clear picture of the true enemies of democracy. The netizen tells Ressa, stand strong, we are with you. Is the arrest of Rappler CEO Maria Ressa an attack on press freedom? We put newsmakers on the record. Catch them with Ruth Cabal tonight at 7, only here on CNN Philippines. And that's it for tonight. Thank you for your time. I'm Pio Ontiveros. See you again tomorrow for Newsnight, where we go above and beyond the headlines.
Rappler CEO Maria Ressa crying foul over her arrest for cyber libel. She calls it an attack on press freedom. But the president's men deny this and say Ressa should stop the drama and rhetoric. Welcome to On the Record. I'm Ruth Cabal.
It's unbelievable that this can happen in a democracy. If they wanted to scare me, this isn't the way to scare me. Follow the rule of law. I will pay more bail than Imelda Marcos.
Rappler CEO Maria Ressa says the timing of her arrest was a planned move. She also says NBI agents threatened one of Rappler's reporters, a claim the agents have denied. Our George Cahiles reports.
Let me get free. Happy Valentine's. Wow. Thank you, NBI, DOJ. I get your message.
Despite detention, Rappler CEO Maria Ressa still cracks jokes about her situation. It's Valentine's Day, and an NBI employee dressed as Cupid even gave Ressa a rose after she spent the night detained at the Cybercrime Division of the NBI for a cyber libel case. Ressa says it's a planned move. Have her arrested after office hours for a slimmer chance to post bail before a court.
If they wanted to send me a message, the message is clear. It's an abuse of power. It's a weaponization of the law.
If we were aware that the case had been filed, we would have surrendered voluntarily.
The cyber libel case filed against Maria Ressa and former staff Reynaldo Santos stemmed from a complaint from businessman Wilfredo King about a Rappler story in 2012 which tackled the alleged connection of King with former Chief Justice Renato Corona. Last year, the NBI junked King's complaint, but a week after, they changed their minds and filed the cyber libel case. The Justice Department filed the case on February 6th, and on Tuesday, the Manila Regional Trial Court Branch 46 issued an arrest warrant against Ressa and Santos. The NBI insists they do not have the intention to detain Ressa.
Yung first opportunity namin na ma-implement, na ma-serve yung warrant of arrest, doon namin ginawa. Pumunta kami dun sa office niya, it just so happened na nandun siya. That's why, isinerve na namin yung warrant of arrest. Kung wala siya doon, babalik na naman kami kinabukasan. It was not our intention na sabi natin hindi makapagpiyansa.
As Ressa's legal team attempted to post 100,000 peso bail early morning Thursday, the judge required Ressa's presence. That's why she had to travel from the NBI to the court. And after an hour of processing, Ressa stepped out of the court carrying her release order.
This isn't just about me, and it's not just about Rappler. The message that the government is sending is very clear, and someone actually told our reporter this last night: be silent or you're next. When I look back a decade from now, I want to make sure that I have done all I can. We will not duck. We will not hide. We will hold the line.
Ressa's legal team says her cyber libel case has an implication to free press. The Justice Department insists that the prescriptive period for cyber libel is 12 years after publication. But Ressa's legal team says it must only be a year.
With the position taken by the DOJ, anything you publish between now and 2012 is open for potential lawsuit. So there could be cases that other lawyers would have said, oh, you can't file that case anymore because the 1-year period has lapsed. Now those lawyers can say, look, the DOJ said it's 12 years, and now we can file the cyber libel cases.
Why?
Oh, really? They're also studying the incident at the Rappler office when NBI agents were arresting Ressa. A video of a Rappler reporter shows a supposed NBI agent tried to stop them from taking videos of the arrest.
Kikita mo, naka-live stream nga siya, di ba? Naka-live feed. So wala talagang effort na ganun. Walang logic, bakit namin gagawin?
Meantime, Ressa's lawyer plans to file a motion to nullify the cyber libel case as soon as they can. George Cahiles, CNN Philippines.
Our guests for this episode, Virgel Santos, chairperson of the Center for Media Freedom and Responsibility. And later on the phone, we also speak to presidential spokesperson and chief legal counsel, Sal Panelo. Good evening, Virgel.
Good evening, Ruth.
So,
thanks for having me.
Yes, there you go. Maria Ressa is saying it's more than just cyber libel. 2 points, abuse of power and weaponization of the law. What do you think of this?
Oh, definitely. I mean, the style in which Maria was arrested by itself, that was ambush, and very much in keeping with the character of this high-handed regime. Mm-hmm. You know, by being served a warrant late in the day, past court business hours, she was denied a basic right, mm-hmm. the right to bail, and therefore had to spend the night in detention. I mean, why do that at all? Mm-hmm. I mean, this is just a case of libel, and libel is not considered such a major crime for one thing. In fact, there is a move to decriminalize libel precisely because libel is thought to be harsher a law regarding press freedom should be.
Mm-hmm. You know, you already mentioned it's about press freedom. Some
Yes.
other groups are saying it's an attack against press
Yes.
freedom. So this is more than just that cyber libel case.
Yes, it's more than this. It's about despotism. It's about this should be taken in the context of the president's express aim to put the whole nation under an authoritarian regime. I mean, he says it all the time. And naturally, when you start doing that, the first target is the press. And Rappler happens to be one of those media organizations that have been adversarial, in fact, sharply critical of this government. So that is quite clear. You know, libel has always been the favorite weapon of people in power, people of wealth and influence, and people who like to perpetuate their pretensions to ruinable reputation. So in other words, the law benefits only the wealthy, the influential, and the powerful. Yes.
Incidentally, we already have on the line Secretary Panelo, and we would like to address some of the concerns raised by Maria Ressa. Secretary Panelo, good evening.
Good evening, good evening.
Yes, sir. Earlier, Maria Ressa had statements that her arrest was like showing an abuse of power and weaponization of the law. And we also have in the studio CMFR, and they're saying it has the markings of an authoritarian regime. Your reaction, sir?
First, let's discuss the facts first. First, the complainant is a private citizen. All right? The state has nothing to do with the complaint. That's number one. Number two, she complains that the NBI dismissed the case. But the problem with that argument is that the NBI is not the final authority to dismiss a case. It's the DOJ. So when it dismisses the case and DOJ finds probable cause, it can restart the investigation. Number three, after finding probable cause, it was filed with the court. And under the Constitution, the presiding judge has to personally go over the case and decide whether there is probable cause or not. And the court finds probable cause. Now she says the rule of law should be observed. Exactly. That is why she's charged, because the rule of law is being observed. There is a charge, there is a preliminary investigation, and the court finds probable cause. She says there should be a rule of law. Correct. That is why a warrant of arrest was issued by the court. That's the rule of law. She says there should be a rule of law. Yes, precisely. She's now on provisional bail. That is the rule of law. Now she says that there is abuse of power and weaponization of law. She's the one abusing her right of expression. As far as the charge is concerned, she has libeled an individual. And the law says if you commit a crime, somebody charges you, then there should be a preliminary investigation, whether or not you committed the crime. And ultimately, the court will decide on that. So how can there be abuse of power? When she was arrested, from the time she was arrested in her office, she was smiling up to the NBI, and then she was attacking the government and claiming that there was an abuse of power and all that. She says there's a chilling effect. She doesn't look it. She says there is an intimidation. She doesn't look it. She's enjoying everything. She's in fact using it to attack the government. Absolutely, there is no connection whatsoever between her being charged and the freedom of expression. Now, another thing. You must remember that the president has been the subject of so many libelous statements, libelous articles coming from senators, congressmen, and other individuals, including commentators. But he has never filed any case against them of libel. How much more with a private citizen doing that? There's nothing to do with it. The government has nothing to do with it. So, I think Maria, who happens to be a good friend also, in a way, because we've known each other for years, is making a mountain out of a molehill.
Okay, Secretary, kasi ang sinasabi, di ba, yung may mga questions about the timing and then the legal basis, but you said nga there's probable cause. And parang ang nangyayari ay nasi-single out ang Rappler because there were also tax evasion charges filed against them because Rappler is one of the strongest
Discuss natin yun, Ruth.
Okay.
Sabi niya, dapat daw, bakit naman daw ini-execute yung warrant of arrest after office hours? I think what she wants to be treated differently from the rest of those who are subject for a warrant of arrest. Gusto niya, yung ibang taong ordinaryo, pwedeng arrestuin, pero siya hindi po pwede. Eh kung merong warrant of arrest, and the warrant of arrest says a police officer is directed to arrest the subject of a warrant anytime and immediately thereafter. Alam mo, ang bawal, yung mag-i-issue ka ng warrant at isi-serve mo ng Sabado or Linggo. Kasi wala ngang court. Pero ito naman it was issued on a weekday. So pwede siya mag-file. Di ba? In fact, nag-file nga siya, kaya nga may rule of law
Na hindi tinanggap po kagabi.
Rule of law. Huh?
Hindi po siya tinanggap kagabi doon sa night court, di ba po, when she was trying to file for...
Bakit daw hindi siya tinanggap?
There were several other reasons presented last night, but ang sinasabi lang is that, is this like the Rappler being singled out because they're one of the strongest critics of the government?
Hindi totoo yan. Alam mo, ang problema kasi ginagamit na yung pagka-periodista niya. Tapos sasabihin niya, pag ganyan ang magiging argumento mo, ay wala na pala hindi na pala ubre yung mga batas natin sa mga periodista pag gagamitin nila yung kapangyarihan nila ng lakas ng kanilang pagsulat o the power of the pen. Yun ang tinatawag na abuse of power. That is weaponization of the law tinatawag kasi under the law, you have the right to express yourself. Ito ginagamit mo ngayon against certain people and government even. Tapos pag dinimanda ka, magre-reklamo ka. Hindi naman po pwede yun. Kung ako siya, hindi ba sa atin, because I am also a mass media man, di ba? And sa atin, it's a badge of honor when you are sued with libel. Why? Kasi lumalabas, magaling ka. Kaya nga hindi ba sinasabi na as many libels you face, lalong marami kang badges of honor. Lalo na kung manalo ka. Dapat nga natutuwa siya. In fact, sa tingin ko nga natutuwa siya. She's in fact enjoying it.
Okay, Secretary Panelo, we'll get back to you. We'll continue our discussion after a break. This is On the Record on CNN Philippines. Welcome back to On the Record. Our topic, the arrest of Rappler CEO Maria Ressa and what it means for press freedom in the country. We're talking to Secretary Sal Panelo. He was stressing that the rule of the law was followed, there was no abuse of power, and wala raw koneksyon yung kaso ni Maria Ressa to yung sinasabing attack on press freedom. Verhel.
First, rule of law is not a simple process. If you tell me that the process has been followed and it does not necessarily follows that the rule of law has been followed. That's a very feeble picture of the rule of law. Now, it seems to me that Mr. Panelo is trying to give the impression that that Maria is calm thanks to probably the niceness or the benignness of the government. It is not. Please give Maria the credit for staying calm under this kind of fire. And another thing is that, Mr. Panelo has been, the things that Mr. Panelo left out are even more significant than the things that he kept in. One, Mr. Duterte has repeatedly expressed open contempt for Rappler and Maria. That's a fact. Second, Mr. Duterte has not made secret of his ultimate plot to put this nation under martial law. In fact, a third of the nation is already under martial law. Third, please understand that Maria Ressa, by her stature as a celebrity of a press freedom fighter, the government, with such despotic designs, stand to gain by showing all in sundry that it can subdue her. Because to subdue her is to send a big chill, not only across the profession, but to the detractors across the nation. You know, intimidation. You know, if we can do this to Maria Ressa, we can do this to anyone. This is not a. This seems to me too obvious to be left out. And now you're saying that the whole process is being followed. No. First, if they had any humane discernment, they would not have come at that hour and deny her a basic right. They could have come earlier. They could have come the next day, given the comparatively unserious nature of the supposed offense. You know, I cannot understand how these things could be ignored, could be missed at all in this whole case.
Verhel, I think we have Maria Ressa with us right now. And Maria, are you there?
Yeah, I'm with you, Ruth.
Okay.
Hi, Verhel.
Hi, Maria.
Maria, we were talking with Secretary Panelo earlier, and he was addressing yung sinabi mo nga na what happened to you was an abuse of power and weaponization of the law. Of course, si Secretary Panelo is saying there was no abuse of power, legal processes were followed, and sabi pa nga niya, you wanted to be treated differently daw kasi.
I'm sorry, actions speak louder than words. In the last 2 months, I've posted bail 6 times. And these cases are not, they're ludicrous to begin with. If you look at this one where I was where I was actually arrested and detained, it's for a story we published 7 years ago. And the cybercrime law, which we allegedly violated, wasn't even in force, and it was enacted several months later. And I think the most important thing is that the NBI itself, its lawyers, threw this case out, and then it magically appeared again under the Department of Justice. I think, you know, actions speak louder than words.
Okay, we have Secretary Panelo, sir.
Yes, Ruth. As
Yes,
I
sir.
said, Maria, when the NBI dismissed that case, NBI is not the final authority. Perhaps the private complainant who sued you asked for a reconsideration, went to DOJ. Because the proper venue for your case is the Department of Justice and not the NBI. NBI will only make some preliminary investigations. It's in their option to file a case or not. But the private complainant can go to DOJ and seek reconsideration of whatever decision of the NBI. Because the final authority would be the Department of Justice. That's what happened to you. So there was a preliminary investigation. The prosecutor found probable cause. That is why you were charged in court. And then the court, again, under the Constitution, the judge will have to personally evaluate it if there is probable cause. And he found it. You must remember, Maria, that the complainant is a private person. I don't even think the president knows this person. And it happened before the time of the president.
Maria?
Yes. Yes, Ruth.
You should be arguing against the private complainant, not us. We don't have anything to do with it. It's the duty of the DOJ to find probable cause. It's the duty of the judge to find probable cause, and it's the duty of the court to try the case of the marriage.
Secretary Panelo, you are entitled to your opinion, and as a powerful cabinet secretary, you have the ability to not just have a megaphone to say it. I disagree, and I have as much right to actually say that and to fight for my
I
rights.
agree with you.
What's
It's the right,
happened
ma'am.
here is the actual serving of the arrest warrant shows an intent of malice. The officers had 10 days to actually serve it. They didn't have to serve it after court was closed yesterday. They did not have to detain me. In fact, that's an infraction of my rights. This case that is ludicrous to begin with, is actually a case where I have the right to bail. It's not debatable. I have the right to bail.
Yeah.
I will submit myself to the rule of law, but what's very clear here is the abuse of power and the weaponization of the law against perceived enemies. I'm not your enemy, Secretary Panelo. I am a journalist doing my job.
No, you're not my enemy. You know, Maria, you want that the warrant of arrest be served to you the day after it was issued. You want to be treated differently from the rest of people subject of a warrant of arrest. The warrant of arrest says any peace officer or police officer has to effect the arrest immediately after its issuance. Now you want to be treated differently. That cannot be done, Maria. The law is no respecter of social
Again, to
status.
everybody.
Whether you're powerful or not, when there is a warrant of arrest, it has to be served to you. What is prohibited is if it is being served to you on a Saturday. Then I will agree with you.
I
that there is
am
something wrong
just
with it.
pointing out all of the anomalous parts of this arrest warrant. It did not include bail. It did not include the information sheet. It was delivered in a way that was meant to keep me detained inside the NBI. If you wanted to show me the power of the government, thank you. I do know the power of government. I show you respect as a cabinet secretary. I demand the same respect as a citizen of this country and as a journalist holding power.
Maria, you're citing certain irregularities which are not irregularities. You say that there is no stated recommended bail. That is not required.
Secretary Panelo, I would suggest,
no.
we
Let me
take
finish.
this in
I allow you to finish.
I
right?
think
Give
you
me
can.
the courtesy. Let me finish what I'm saying. It's the court that will determine the bail. Only the prosecutor recommends. But if he recommends, but the court doesn't want, then the court will set it. So there is no irregularity.
Answer all that.
You're complaining of irregularity. That is not an irregularity. It was served to you in accordance with law.
Again, I'll point out that underneath the law, under the Constitution and this country's laws, the judge in the only open night court had jurisdiction to accept the bail, which we were ready to post 2 hours before the court closed. The fact that it was not granted bail and detained
Why
overnight.
Why were you not granted bail? Did the court tell you anything about it?
Okay.
Sorry, garbled.
Did the court tell you why your bail was not being granted?
I can't hear.
Okay, Maria, can we just go back to what you were saying earlier, that overall you're looking at this as like an attack on press?
Ruth,
Yes,
this
sir.
is very important because she's complaining about that being granted bail. I want to know what the court said in denying bail, or she wasn't given it. Why was she not given bail? What was the reason of the court?
The court said, Secretary Panelo, I'm more than willing to talk to you and have our lawyers say it, but what our lawyers tell us is that there was no information sheet.
No, Maria, I want
Mr.
to know
Secretary?
why the court did not grant you bail? Because
Sure.
Because why did the court did not grant you bail? What did it say?
Our lawyers were told they needed the information sheet, which was not attached to the warrant. Part of the reason the Philippine Daily Inquirer thought that this was a non-bailable charge was precisely because there was no mention of bail on the actual arrest warrant, which is also irregular.
Maria, then something is wrong with the way your lawyer handled your case. Because your lawyers could have argued to the court, Your Honor, our client is entitled to bail. It's the court that will determine the amount of bail that we will post.
Okay.
They did, sir.
Yung mga abogado mo pala yung
Secretary Panelo and and Maria, looks like we can still there's still a long way to go for a battle in court and the other legalities, and so we just ask a few words na lang again from Maria before we let you go, Maria.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Well, thank you for listening to me, and thank you for covering this story. With great respect to Secretary Panelo, he is entitled to his opinion. I'm entitled to mine, and my own personal experience shows me exactly the position I've taken. I have nothing against the government. I'm not anti-Duterte. In fact, President Duterte, most likely also, we helped in his election through our own coverage of it, right? We should be working for the same cause, which is to make democracy stronger in this country. But my own experience, again, it is not normal to be posting bail 6 times within 2 months. It does not scare me. It is not going to stop Rappler from reporting. We'll continue to ask the tough questions. And part of this is, I hope, Ruth, as with CNN Philippines, this is the time when it's important for journalists to do their jobs. This is the time when the checks and balances of government should kick in. We want to make sure our democracy flourishes and gets better, not gets worse. Thanks so much, Ruth.
Thank you. And Secretary Panelo, sir.
Yes. This is my message to Maria. Maria,
go ahead, sir.
The procedure in your case was followed to the letter, in fact. If you felt that it was not, then you have legal remedies. You can always ask for a reconsideration. You can file. Your lawyers know how to handle that case. But you cannot be blaming the government for perceived irregularities, which are not irregularities.
Okay, thank you very much, Secretary Panelo, and our guest here in the studio, Vergel.
Well, it seems to me that all we're getting from Mr. Panelo either insignificant or puerile points. For instance, he keeps insisting on process and procedures and things like that. I mean, as I've said, the rule of law is not about simply procedures. In fact, what Mr. Panelo did not all discuss is a sense of fairness. Mm-hmm. I mean, why focus on processes? I mean, we don't care about processes in this case. I mean, they're easily straightened out, but not fairness. Another point is that Panelo makes a big thing of the accuser being a private person. Mm-hmm. Again, it's a very puerile point. It just happens that Mr. Duterte and this private person have very clearly found common cause. Mm-hmm. No, they both don't like Rappler and Maria. I mean, this is clear enough. And then the last one is that I keep saying that this case should be viewed within a larger picture, and that larger picture, God help us, is the quality of justice in this country. If you have people who have been put in jail over credible process and then let out arbitrarily, you have a problem.
Okay. Thank you very much, Vergel. And that's on the record this week. Thanks for watching. I'm Ruth Cabal. This is the newsroom on CNN Philippines. Tonight, supporters from around the globe rally around Rappler CEO Maria Ressa, now out on bail for a cyber libel complaint. President Duterte denying his hand in Ressa's case, saying he didn't even know the journalist was arrested. Hello and welcome. I'm Ruth Cabal. Thanks for joining us. The fight isn't over for Rappler CEO Maria Ressa. Ressa is out on bail for now, following her arrest and overnight detention at the National Bureau of Investigation headquarters in Manila. This is in connection with a cyber libel complaint stemming from a 7-year-old news article.
If they wanted to send me a message, the message is clear. It's an abuse of power. It's a weaponization of the law. If they wanted to scare me, this isn't the way to scare me. Follow the rule of law.
When I look back a decade from now, I want to make sure. I want to make sure that I have done all I can. We will not duck. We will not hide. We will hold the line.
Now, Ressa's next step, file a motion to nullify the case. Her legal team is also studying the incident at the Rappler office when NBI agents were arresting Ressa. A video of a Rappler reporter shows a supposed NBI agent tried to stop them from taking videos of the arrest.
Parang hindi totoo na sasabihin namin yon or mag-exert kami na effort para either may sinasabi pa nga pinahinto namin yung pagkuha ng video. Pero hindi kasi nakikita mo naka-live stream nga siya, di ba? Naka-live feed. So wala talagang effort na ganun. Walang logic bakit namin gagawin.
A fierce debate on press freedom now on. And at the center of the controversy, Maria Ressa, CEO of online news site Rappler. Our AC Nichols tells us about Ressa's latest legal battle and why it's gaining international attention.
Maria Ressa, Rappler CEO and Time Person of the Year, is now making headlines herself again. Authorities arrested and detained her overnight on Wednesday in relation to a cyber libel case involving a 7-year-old news article. Press freedom advocates say it is an attempt to silence a news organization critical of the Duterte administration, while Malacanang says it shows nobody is above the law. Others, meantime, are left wondering, what exactly is the crime and law involved? Ressa's case falls under the Cybercrime Prevention Act of 2012. Under the cybercrime law, libel is similar to ordinary libel, punishable under the revised penal code. The difference, the crime is committed on the internet instead of print.
Kung kanyang defamation, pag-defame ng tao o pag-discredit ng tao, ginawa niya to the computer system or similar technology, maliwanag yung cyber libel.
Another difference is the penalty. In printed libel, the penalty is imprisonment of 6 months to 4 years. But libel committed online is punishable by imprisonment of 6 to 10 years. Ressa's case stems from a report on a businessman's alleged ties to the late Chief Justice Renato Corona. It was published in May 2012, 4 months before the anti-cybercrime law took effect, which means the law does not cover the alleged offense. But in February 2014, Rappler made corrections to typographical errors on the article, so the website reflected a second date, 2 years after the original publication. The Justice Department used the 2014 updated version as basis to indict Ressa. Businessman Wilfredo Keng filed the case against Ressa in 2017. The National Bureau of Investigation dismissed it because it is beyond the 1-year limit to file libel cases. The case was reopened in March last year on the argument that Rappler can still be held liable under the theory of continuing publication, even if the prescriptive period for filing a case had lapsed. While the Supreme Court has upheld the anti-cybercrime law's constitutionality, the specifics were not covered. Among them, whether or not cyber libel can be a continuing crime. This leaves room for interpretation when to apply the prescriptive period. Is it from the original date of publication or the last time it was shared?
Kung i-apply mo yung revised penal code, tama, 1 year from publication. Pero may tinatawag kasi na continuing crime. No? So pag continuing crime, let's say na-tweet, na-retweet, na-email, na-re-email, then hindi mo alam kung kailan matapos yung prescriptive period, di ba?
Ressa's lawyer believes this legal point may reach all the way to the Supreme Court. Her arrest comes 2 months after she posted bail on tax fraud charges. AC Nichols, CNN Philippines.
So where's the other respondent in Maria Ressa's cyber libel case? Reports say Rappler's former researcher, Reynaldo Santos, is now a consultant at the Finance Department. CNN Philippines cannot independently confirm this information. Meanwhile, businessman Wilfredo Keng, who filed a complaint, issued a statement thanking the Justice Department for filing criminal charges against Rappler, Ressa, and Santos. Keng considers this development a vindication even though he says it would still be a long process before the case gets resolved. The businessman is hopeful that justice and truth will be on his side. What do you think about our top story tonight? Send us a message at CNN Philippines. We're also live on Facebook. We'll read your comments at the end of the show. You're back in the newsroom on CNN Philippines. Members of the University of the Philippines community gathered to protest the arrest of Rappler CEO and executive editor Maria Ressa. Almost 100 protesters, mostly from the College of Mass Communication. They call Ressa's arrest an affront to press freedom. A professor says Ressa's arrest has spurred action among students, faculty members, alumni, and even media professionals.
Tumigil na ang ating pananahimik at tumigil na rin ang kawalan ng pagkakaisa hinggil sa mga isyong kinakaharap ng media sa kasalukuyan.
The protest was held at the Plaridel Hall in UP Diliman. The United States and Canada also reacting to the case against the Rappler chief. The U.S. Embassy tweeting its reaction. It says it hopes the charge against Maria Ressa will be resolved quickly in accordance with Philippine law and international standards of due process. Meantime, the Canadian Embassy says journalists must be free to report openly and responsibly in a healthy and vibrant democracy. The embassy says it will continue its support for a free and responsible press in the Philippines. Thanks for staying with us here in the newsroom. President Duterte says he's unaware Rappler CEO Maria Ressa had been arrested. Speaking to reporters in Bulacan, Mr. Duterte said it's not an attack on press freedom, but part of court processes. He also denied having a hand in Ressa's case, saying he doesn't know the complainant. Here's the president in his own words.
Hindi ko kilala yan si Deng, frankly. Okay. I do not know him and what prompted him to file a case. I've been mayor for so many years. I've been the subject of all kinds of attack, personal and whatever, silly and everything. And even coming in Ugrales. That's filed 3 cases against me.
And before we go, here are some of your comments on our top story. Rappler CEO Maria Ressa saying her arrest is an attack on press freedom. Rack DM asks how this case is about abuse of power when it's not the government, but a private individual who filed the cyber law complaint. Valentino San Pascual says nobody is above the law. Juan Agapay tells the Rappler CEO, quote, "You are born to fight, Maria Ressa." Thank you for your comments. That's the newsroom tonight. I'm Ruth Cabal. Good evening.